Chapter 1922. Huan Jinji and the others were puzzled when they heard about the spirit-swallowing insects. They had no idea what they were. But in the next second, they realized the terror of these insects even without Zhao Ziyu's explanation. At this time, tens of thousands of little flying insects flew out from the mountain crevice, forming a black fog in midair. They rushed to the stone crevice where the ancient cloud flower grew, and the stone pile immediately became dim. The spirit energy stored inside was sucked away, and like a fossil, it dissipated with the wind. What kind of insects are these? Why are they so terrifying? Shiryu's legs were trembling. He was the closest to the ancient cloud flower. As soon as he finished speaking, countless spirit-swallowing insects formed a black fog and moved over. They flew extremely fast, and when Shiryu came to his senses, he was already covered by the black fog. Even his body and face could not be seen clearly. "Brother Shiryu, be careful!" Zhao Ziyu's expression changed, and he immediately slashed at the void. The sword ray flew over the top of the stone fish's head, obviously afraid of hurting it. However, although the sword she seemed fierce, it only cut the black fog in half. A moment later, the gap was immediately filled up by the spirit-devouring insects. My gold spirit armor was swallowed in an instant, save me! Stone Fish's shriek came from the black fog. His voice was filled with terror. Stone Fish was not a coward, but the swarm of flying insects was too terrifying. Anyone would panic if they were surrounded by them. Stone Fish was not a coward, but he was terrified. Lu Jiao and Fanny also came to their senses, and they immediately attacked the swarm of flying insects. A large number of spirit-swallowing insects fell to the ground and were killed by the sword light. However, more insects flew out from the crevice, like moths flying into a flame, and gathered around Shiryu. "Brother Shiryu, I'm afraid we can't save him. Rumor has it that the spirit-swallowing insects are ranked 25th on the Divine Continent's spirit insect list. They are born in groups, and they will attack any spiritual body they encounter until they absorb all the spiritual energy in the spiritual body. I guess these spirit-seeking insects were originally attached to the roots of the ancient cloud flower to absorb the spiritual energy inside. In the end, we picked the ancient cloud flower and released these insects." Zhao Ziyu quickly introduced the situation of the spirit-swallowing worm, and everyone was horrified after listening. A cultivator's body was almost full of spiritual qi, and even his internal organs and blood contained spiritual qi. These spirit-swallowing worms would never let go of a trace of spiritual qi. Wouldn't they devour people completely? This was simply a group of demons who would devour people without spitting out the bones. Despair rose in the eyes of Zhao Ziyu and the others. They didn't dare to look at the stone fish anymore. Although they couldn't bear to do it, they had to give up on the stone fish. Otherwise, they would become the next target after the spirit-swallowing worms devoured all the stone fish. "Brother Stonefish, I'm sorry. We really can't save you. If we stay, we'll all die." Zhao Ziyu sighed. The next moment, he shouted to the others with a resolute expression. "The depths of the 10,000 insect valley are too dangerous. Everyone, follow me and leave." They ran far away in an instant, but Qin Feng was still standing in his original spot. Zhao Ziyu stopped and hurriedly shouted, "Young hero Qiao, let's go, there's nothing we can do." The rest of them also stopped, their eyes filled with anxiety. At this moment, the voice of the stone fish came from the black fog again. "Young hero Qiao, let's go. I, Stonefish, am not a coward and won't implicate my friends. These spiritual insects are more terrifying than demons. The 6 spiritual armors on my body have all been devoured. I'm afraid that in a few seconds my whole body will disappear." Qin Feng still didn't move. He had been thinking about how to deal with the spirit-swallowing worms. He wanted to take out the ranged sniper and shoot it, but he was afraid of accidentally injuring the stone fish. He also thought of burning it with heavenly fire, but if these spiritual insects were flammable, the heavenly fire would also burn the stone fish. After thinking for a long time, Qin Feng still couldn't think of a practical way. Just when he was at a loss of what to do, an ancient cloud flower leaf flew out of the black fog. At the same time, the stonefish shouted, "Young hero Chiao, I appreciate your kindness, but I'm afraid I'm going to die. This leaf of a level 6 spiritual herb is for you." The ancient cloud flower leaf floated like a white cloud, and the situation suddenly changed. The spirit swallowing worms that had gathered into a dense black cloud flew towards the ancient cloud flower leaves in a frenzy. Stonefish's figure appeared once again. His clothes had been devoured clean, revealing a body covered in blood. I'm not dead." The stonefish was still in shock. Zhao Ziyu and the others who hadn't gone far immediately rushed back, and the other three protected the stonefish. Zhao Ziyu's sword missed, and a huge sword chi condensed and exploded in the black fog. A large number of spirit-swallowing bugs died, but even more spirit-swallowing bugs flew towards the ancient cloud flower like mindless ghosts. "Young hero Qiao, leave quickly!" Zhao Ziyu saw a trace of hope. However, he saw Qin Feng standing at the foot of the mountain less than 10 meters away from the black fog. He looked like he was deep in thought, as if he hadn't heard Zhao Ziyu's shout. This scene caused Huan Jinji and the others to break into a cold sweat. Perhaps only Qin Feng could stand so calmly under the swarm of spirit-swallowing insects. They were even more curious about what Qin Feng was thinking. He was so lost in thought that he didn't even care about his own life. But before they could guess Qin Feng's thoughts, the black fog moved again, clearly swallowing all the spirit chi in the ancient cloud flower leaf. Everyone had just received an ancient cloud flower leaf, so they knew how much spirit chi was contained in the leaf. It could be seen how fast the swarm of spirit-swallowing worms were swallowing spirit chi. Not good! The swarm of spirit-swallowing worms is flying toward young hero Qiao. AI! Young hero Qiao is one of the few genius cultivators I've seen, reaching the middle stage of the true spirit realm at such a young age. It's a pity that he was too confident and didn't guard against the spirit-swallowing worms. What a pity! Senior Zhao, what should we do now? They were certain that Qin Feng was dead. Although they really wanted to save him, how could they? Zhao Ziyu sighed in his heart. Among the 5 of them, Qin Feng was the one he had the deepest feelings for. After all, Qin Feng had saved his life in front of the blood-eyed poison spider. Now that he had to watch Qin Feng die in front of him, the feeling was unbearable. AI! Let's go! In the end, Zhao Ziyu let out a long sigh and fled with a swing of his sleeves. When he ran to the others, he found that they were all motionless and staring at one direction in shock. When Zhao Ziyu turned around, his old eyes almost fell to the ground. The swarm of spirit-swallowing worms had already flown above Qin Feng's head. Qin Feng calmly took out an ancient cloud flower leaf and threw it casually. The swarm of spirit-swallowing worms immediately flew toward the leaf. As expected, Qin Feng was pleasantly surprised. He had discovered the secret of the spirit-swallowing worms. At the same time, Qin Feng also understood why the Jiang family only robbed the spiritual herbs. It was because the spiritual herbs could attract the spirit-swallowing worms and lead them to other places. What's going on? I think I understand. The spirit-swallowing worms swallow spirit chi in order. They will first swallow the spirit body with the densest spirit chi. Zhao Ziyu said in shock. The others revealed a look of realization, but Lu Jiao frowned and said, "That's not right. If they first swallow the spirit body with the densest spirit chi, then the spirit chi in young hero Qiao's body will definitely be denser than that of an ancient cloud flower leaf." Zhao Ziyu's eyebrows relaxed, and the solemn expression disappeared. He even laughed heartily. "Ha! Young hero Qiao is really amazing. He's definitely the smartest and most courageous person I've ever seen among my peers. Junior sister Lu is right. Logically speaking, the spirit-swallowing worms should swallow young hero Qiao first. However, you may not have noticed that young hero Qiao has already suppressed the spirit chi in his body. It's definitely his first time seeing the spirit-swallowing worms, and in such a short time, he figured out the way to deal with the spirit-swallowing worms. He can still think calmly in a life-and-death situation. Even I am ashamed of myself. After Zhao Ziyu's explanation, the crowd was stunned. They had always regarded Qin Feng as the person with the lowest cultivation. Everyone wanted to help Qin Feng when they were in danger. In the end, along the way, it was Qin Feng who saved everyone from danger. Even the formation door that led to the depths of the Thousand Insect Valley was set up by Qin Feng. Qin Feng realized that he had made the right bet and let out a long sigh of relief. He was not as brave as Zhao Ziyu said. Because he had the astral space with him, he had already prepared for the worst. If his guess was wrong, he would immediately hide in the astral space. At that time, he would not worry about the astral space being exposed. If he had made the right bet, Zhao Ziyu and the other four would have died here. Luckily, I made the right bet, Qin Feng muttered in his heart. However, he was immediately shocked when he realized that the spirit-swallowing worm's devouring speed was too terrifying. An ancient cloud flower's leaf was completely devoured in less than half an incense stick's time. Young hero Qiao, come here quickly. Seeing this, Huan Jinji hurriedly shouted. However, Zhao Ziyu had already moved. He slapped his skinny palm, and an ancient cloud flower's leaf flew far into the sky. The spirit-swallowing worms that were chasing Qin Feng instantly changed their direction and flew toward the ancient cloud flower like a dark cloud. Looks like Senior Zhao was right. Let's quickly suppress the true vitality in our bodies, Lu Jiao said anxiously. Criticism seemed to have thought of something and shouted. I know! No wonder the Jiang family of the six-star big family, drifting on water, would rob us, and only the spiritual herbs. They must have also encountered the spirit-swallowing worms and found a way to deal with them. Everyone nodded and agreed with criticism's idea. Immediately, everyone revealed a distressed expression. Based on the current situation, there were probably countless spirit-swallowing bugs in the deeper regions of the 10,000 Insect Valley, and they had only found one ancient cloud flower in the 10,000 Insect Valley. Now that they had used up all 3 flower leaves, if they continued to explore like this, they would not find any treasures, and in the end, they would lose all their treasures. Oh no! We've given all our spiritual herbs to the Jiang family. If we encounter the spirit-swallowing worms again, won't we just be waiting for death? Sure, you realize the severity of the problem. Why don't we leave this place? This is not a place for cultivators below the Hollow God realm. I suspect that even body condensation stage cultivators will die here. Huan Jinji wanted to retreat. Zhao Ziyu also did not plan to continue exploring. After all, there were only 5 ancient cloud flower leaves left. It was not enough for the spirit-swallowing worms to eat. Chapter 1923. It seems that the Thousand Insect Valley probably has level 9 spiritual herbs. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many spirit-devouring worms. However, it's impossible for us to get level 9 spiritual herbs with our strength. Let's leave with me. After some thought, Zhao Ziyu made a decision. Although Lu Jiao and the others were unwilling, they had to compromise in the face of reality. Just as they were about to go back, Qin Feng said, Since we've found the depths of the Insect Valley, it's a pity to return empty-handed. Why don't we keep searching? Maybe we'll find some treasures and opportunities. They were tempted, but they calmed down quickly. Stonefish advised. Young hero Qiao, we understand your intention, but you've seen how terrifying those spirit-devouring bugs are. Now that everyone's spiritual herbs have been taken, we'll die if we stay. Qin Feng smiled. Don't worry about spiritual herbs. I have a lot of them here. Besides, spirit-devouring bugs not only devour spiritual herbs, but also anything with spiritual energy. We can lure them away with spirit stones. The others were enlightened. They were also frightened by the terror of the spirit-devouring bug, so much so that everyone lost the ability to think. Now that Qin Feng said this, everyone's thoughts cleared up. Yes! We can use spirit stones to lure the bugs away. It's said that there are many spiritual bugs in the Insect Valley, not just spirit-devouring bugs. What should we do if we encounter other spiritual bugs? There aren't many spiritual insects on the Divine Supreme Continent that can attack. Not every spiritual insect is as terrifying as the spirit-devouring insect. I think young Hero Chiao's suggestion is good. We're here to look for treasures. I'm not willing to leave without getting anything. Then let's keep searching. We'll leave if we encounter any danger. They discussed among themselves and finally reached an agreement to continue exploring the depths of the valley. This time, Qin Feng volunteered to lead the team. In fact, he was familiar with the spiritual bugs on the divine continent. He even had a spirit-seeking bug in the system, so he wasn't as worried about the spiritual bugs as the others. He was more worried about the threats from the Jiang family. After a while, another wave of spirit-devouring bugs appeared, but there were fewer of them than last time. They were lured away by a level 4 spiritual herb that Qin Feng threw out. When they reached the depths of the valley, they saw many cultivators. They didn't greet each other, and hurried on their way. Obviously, they were afraid of the spiritual bugs in the insect valley. Wow! The spiritual qi here is so rich! Be careful, everyone. Places with dense spirit qi can easily attract spirit-devouring insects. Before they knew it, they had passed through the canyon and arrived at the bottom of a spacious valley. The bottom of the valley was boundless, and there were many caves. At this time, there were hundreds of teams exploring the empty valley, and many of them were walking towards those caves. Senior Zhao, are we going to enter the cave as well? Huan Jinji was a little worried. Censure said, "It's certain that there are treasures in the caves. Otherwise, other cultivators wouldn't take the risk to go in. However, these caves look narrow and dark. If spirit-swallowing worms appear in these caves, they'll definitely die." "You're right, Brother Censure. But since we're already here, I think we should find a cave to explore," Bao Ziyu decided. Although the others looked worried, they still chose to continue exploring in the end. As they were discussing, Qin Fen was observing the situation of the other teams of cultivators entering the cave. Those cultivators did not directly enter. Instead, they waited outside the cave for a long time. Zhao Ziyu chose a cave nearby and was about to lead everyone in, but Qin Fen stopped him. "Senior Zhao, please wait." Everyone immediately stopped. Although Qin Fen had the lowest cultivation level in the group, he had become everyone's backbone after what had happened. "Young Hero Chiao, did you find anything?" Zhao Ziyu asked. Qin Feng took out a stalk of 100 Immortals flower. It was a level 7 spirit herb that Yu Wanqiu had given him. He had refined the spirit cleansing pill for Yu Wanqiu, and he had left 100 Immortals flower leaf for her. When the leaf landed on the rocks at the cave's entrance, Zhao Ziyu and the others' eyes lit up. The 100 Immortals flower leaf was rich with spiritual qi, and it instantly formed a small spiritual qi whirlpool at the cave's entrance. Although some of them could not recognize it as a 100 Immortals flower, they could tell that it was at least a level 7 spirit herb. The ancient cloud flower they had obtained not long ago was only a level 6 spirit herb. "Young Hero Chiao, you have a level 7 spirit herb, the 100 Immortals flower?" Zhao Ziyu asked in surprise. Huan Jinji and the others were even more shocked. Only now did they realize that it was a 100 Immortals flower leaf. Zhao Ziyu and the others were not the only ones shocked. The rich spiritual qi emitted by the 100 Immortals flower had attracted the attention of the surrounding cultivators. A level 7 spirit herb was extremely precious in the South Flat continent. Many cultivators came to explore in search of level 7 spirit herbs. Qin Fen's action of throwing out 100 Immortals flower leaf was truly shocking. "Oh no! Young Hero Chiao, quickly put away the 100 Immortals flower leaf," Zhao Ziyu said anxiously. The others also realized the severity of the situation. They could not understand Qin Fen's actions. Why did he throw out 100 Immortals flower leaf at the cave's entrance? Was he showing off? Of course, Qin Fen was not showing off. If he really wanted to show off, he could have taken out the 3 level 8 spirit herbs that Akka had given him. The reason why he did this was because he had seen through the actions of the other groups of cultivators. Those cultivators would throw out some spirit herbs before entering the cave. Their goal was obviously to attract the spirit-swallowing worms. Just as Qin Fen had guessed, although those cultivators coveted the 100 Immortals flower leaf, no one came to fight for it. The 1,000-insect valley was filled with danger. No one wanted to cause trouble. Even if Qinfan's group was not strong, they still had Zhao Ziyu and Lu Jiao, two nihility gods, with them. There should be no problem with this cave. Let's go in. After waiting for an instant's time, Qinfan put away the 100 Immortals flower. The reason why he took out the level 7 spirit herb to attract the spirit-swallowing worms was to save time. At the same time, Qinfan felt lucky. He had originally planned to use the crescent grass, purple golden bamboo, and Ma San Xian to attract the spirit-swallowing worms. Now, it seemed that once he took out the level 8 spirit herb, the other groups of cultivators would come to snatch it at all costs. After saying that, Qinfan took the lead and walked into the cave. The others were still stunned at the entrance of the cave. Zhao Ziyu showed an admiring smile. He had already understood Qinfan's actions. The cave was narrow and dark, but the temperature was much higher than the big valley outside. However, Qinfan did not care about this. As long as there were no spirit-swallowing worms in the cave, it would be fine. Young hero Qiao, I feel that this cave is a bit strange. Let's go out, shall we? After walking for a long time, the temperature in the cave was getting higher and higher. It had even reached 100 degrees. Even the air seemed to be vaporized. Everyone's clothes were melted. Now, they were all wearing spiritual armors to protect their bodies. Even the low-level spiritual armors were somewhat deformed. Qinfan had long realized that the cave was abnormal. Such a high temperature must be caused by something. The first thing he thought of was the unusual flame, but he did not feel a trace of the unusual flame. Because of the spirit sunflower and purple flame, this temperature was no pressure for Qinfan. However, he had to consider the feelings of the others. He was afraid that if they continued to walk like this, Huanjin and the other true spirit realm cultivators would not be able to hold on. Just when Qinfan was hesitating whether to let the others go out and wait, a ball of flame rushed out from the depths of the cave. The surrounding temperature instantly rose, and even the rock walls on both sides were roasted red. Not good, there's something inside. Zhao Ziyu was the first to realize the danger. Huanjin and the others who were walking behind had already turned around and fled. Halfway through, they turned around and found that Qinfan was still standing in the distance. They were so scared that they immediately shouted, "Young hero Qiao, quickly run! Could this be the unusual flame? Why is it so fierce?" Zhao Ziyu stopped less than 5 meters behind Qinfan and clearly saw the shape of the ball of flame. This is definitely not the unusual flame, and it is said that unusual flames will not take the initiative to attack people. Most of them will run away when they see people. Although it was not the unusual flame, everyone felt the fierceness of this ball of flame. Just when they were at a loss of what to do, they heard Qinfan shout, "I know, these are not flames, they are fire spirit insects." Hearing fire spirit insects, Zhao Ziyu's expression changed greatly. He looked at the flying flames again, and this time he finally found something strange. The flames seemed to be made up of countless small flames, and each small flame was only the size of a pinky. If one looked closely, they were not small flames at all, but flying insects that looked like burning flames. It really is a fire spirit insect. It is said that this kind of insect will not take the initiative to attack cultivators. What is going on? Zhao Ziyu could not explain the situation in front of him, but he had no time to think because the group of fire spirit insects had already flown above Qinfan's head. Qinfan knew that they were fire spirit insects from Little Pig, but he did not know anything about them. After hearing Zhao Ziyu's words, his eyes lit up and he suddenly had a guess. These fire spirit insects attacked first because they were guarding something, and the arrival of Qinfan and the others made the fire spirit insects think that they were invaders. These thoughts flashed through Qinfan's mind, and he quickly calmed down. Whether his guess was right or not, the most important thing now was to deal with the fire spirit insects. He immediately threw out the 100 immortal flower, but the fire spirit insects did not seem to see it, and surrounded Qinfan without stopping. At this moment, in everyone's eyes, Qinfan's body seemed to be ignited by flames, and he had turned into a man of fire. Seeing that the 100 immortal flower had no effect, Qin Fen realized that the fire spirit insects and the spirit swallowing bugs had different attacking methods. The spirit swallowing bugs devoured spiritual qi, but the fire spirit insects relied on their high temperature to burn cultivators. Perhaps a true spirit, or even a hollow god realm cultivator, would be burned to death by this group of fire spirit insects. But Qin Fen was not afraid of fire at all because he had subdued two types of heaven and earth unique flames. Sizzle! With a thought, a ball of blue flame rose. When the spirit sunflower appeared, it was surrounded by countless fire spirit insects. The blue flame was like a lonely boat in the middle of the sea, and it looked like it could be swallowed at any time. But the fire spirit insects on Qin Fen's body began to fly away in large numbers, and the last blue flame shot out. When Zhao Ziyu and the others saw it, they cried out in shock. Chapter 1924. What is that blue flame? Shiryu was surprised. The temperature has increased again. Even the walls of the cave have melted. Heavenly flame? Could this be the heavenly flame spirit sunflower ranked 20th on the divine continent? Zhao Ziyu shouted. Heavenly fire spirit sunflower? When Zhao Ziyu shouted out the identity of the blue flame, the entire cave suddenly quieted down. They felt a chill, even forgetting the high temperature around them. They couldn't imagine how Qin Fen managed to obtain the heavenly fire spirit sunflower. This kind of heavenly fire could only be found by chance. Even if a normal cultivator was lucky enough to encounter it, they wouldn't be able to subdue it. Qin Fen was only in the true spirit realm, so how could he have subdued the spirit sunflower flame? Or perhaps, when he had subdued the spirit sunflower flame, he definitely did not have the strength he had now. But the truth was right in front of them. That deep blue flame completely penetrated through, like a sunflower blooming in the air above the cave. If it wasn't the famous spirit sunflower of the heavenly flames, then what was it? When the spirit sunflower appeared, the group of fire spirit insects became extremely excited and surrounded the heavenly fire. Suddenly, a consciousness appeared in Qin Feng's mind. That consciousness seemed to be connected to the fire spirit bug outside. When he used his consciousness to issue an order, the fire spirit bug acted. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for collecting the fire spirit bug. The system rewards host Qin Feng 100,000 hedonist points. Host Qin Feng's total hedonist points, 1,329,000. The system notification suddenly sounded. Qin Feng understood that the consciousness was the fire spirit bug that he had subdued. Soon, Qin Feng discovered that he had only subdued one fire spirit bug, and this fire spirit bug's position was the same as the alpha wolf and the alpha sheep. It was the leader of the fire spirit bugs. Young hero Qiao, let's leave this place quickly. The crowd had already recovered from the shock of the heavenly fire. Seeing that the swarm of fire spirit insects had temporarily stopped, a few people started to remind Qin Feng. But how could Qin Feng leave? Not to mention that he had already subdued the leader of the fire spirit insects. Even if he hadn't subdued it, he planned to use the spirit sunflower flame to open a path. According to his conjecture, these fire spirit insects wouldn't appear in this cave out of nowhere. There must be some treasure hidden in the depths of the cave. Everyone, don't be afraid. I've already used my heaven fire to suppress these fire spirit insects. They are temporarily under my control. Qin Feng didn't say that he had subdued the leader of the fire spirit insects because he didn't want to scare everyone. But even so, the few of them were still shocked. Controlling the fire spirit bugs? How did he do it? Young hero Qiao, are you sure you can control those fire spirit bugs? Zhao Ziyu found it hard to accept. Qin Feng's thoughts moved slightly, and he ordered the fire spirit insect leader to lead the way into the depths of the cave. Immediately, the fiery swarm of insects flew away, illuminating the originally dark cave path. Senior Zhao, don't worry. I've really controlled these bugs. Actually, Qin Feng didn't need to explain too much. When they saw the fire spirit bug flying at a constant speed towards the depths of the cave, everyone knew that Qin Feng was speaking the truth. The truth was right in front of them, but they still couldn't figure out how Qin Feng did it. They carefully followed him, completely treating Qin Feng as their backbone. Soon, someone realized that the temperature in the cave had dropped. Although it was still above 60 degrees Celsius, it was much better than the ultra-high temperature of a few hundred degrees Celsius before. This was also Qin Feng's order. He asked the fire spirit bug leader to retract its aura, so all the fire spirit bugs suppressed their auras. After walking for an hour, they finally saw an empty cave abode. At this time, the spirit-seeking bug in the system sent a strong signal. Qin Feng immediately realized that his guess was right. There was really a treasure hidden in this cave. This cave abode is so big. There might be treasures. Let's split up and search. After seeing the cave abode, everyone became excited. Under Shiyu's suggestion, Zhao Ziyu and the others began to move. However, Qin Feng was not in a hurry to search. With the spirit-seeking bug, he was least worried about not being able to find treasures. He was observing the surrounding environment to see if there were any hidden dangers. After a round of inspection, he didn't find any concealment formation or unfamiliar auras. Qin Feng was relieved and searched according to the senses of the spirit-seeking bug. Soon, Shiyu's shout came from the cave abode. "I found a level 6 firestone flower!" His voice echoed in the cave, and everyone could hear it. Level 6 firestone flower was a kind of refining material, and it was also considered a rare treasure outside. Suddenly, everyone became alert. Shiyu's discovery meant that there was indeed a treasure hidden in this cave abode, and it was impossible that there was only a level 6 firestone flower. Sure enough, after a while, a few people's excited voices came out. "I found a few fire pearls. Are there any cultivators with fire spiritual roots among us, or those who practice fire attribute techniques? These fire pearls are good stuff. I have 3 fire dragon grasses in this small cave abode. These are level 6 spiritual grasses. I found a fire sword martial technique. Its level seems to be quite high." The more everyone searched, the more excited they became. Good news kept coming out. At this moment, everyone was glad that they didn't leave halfway. They were grateful to Qin Feng. If Qin Feng hadn't persuaded everyone halfway, how could they have obtained so many treasures now? However, they soon discovered that these treasures were all fire attribute items. Whether it was spiritual grasses, refining materials, or cultivation methods and martial techniques. Where did young hero Qiao go? Why didn't I hear his voice? When they calmed down from their excitement, everyone realized the situation. Just now, everyone shouted that they found treasures, but Qin Feng didn't make a sound. So they began to shout Qin Feng's name, but there was no response. Qin Feng was standing in a small closed cave abode. He couldn't hear the shouts outside, or he would have responded immediately. This closed cave abode was not originally sealed. When Qin Feng found it by following the spirit-seeking bug, the cave entrance was sealed by itself. The cave was filled with fiery red stones. Qin Feng didn't know what they were, but the temperature inside was extremely high. Qin Feng guessed that it was at least 1,000 degrees. If a true spirit cultivator came in, they would be instantly melted. As soon as Qin Feng entered the cave, he used the spirit sunflower heavenly fire to form a barrier around him. Even with the protection of the heavenly fire, he still felt extremely hot, as if his body was burning. "Little pig, what are these stones?" Qin Feng quickly found the reason for the high temperature inside the cave abode. It was most likely related to the red stones piled up on the ground. It was the first time he saw these stones on the Divine Supreme Continent. Although they were similar to the fire spirit stones he collected in Poison Sun City, Qin Feng knew that they were definitely not fire spirit stones. "Master! It must be the fire spirit crystal!" Little Pig's eyes lit up. "Fire spirit crystal? What is that?" "The fire spirit crystal is the sublimated crystallization of fire spirit stones, just like the relationship between spirit crystals and spirit stones." After Little Pig's explanation, Qin Feng completely understood. He knew that a spirit crystal was extremely precious. At least 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones were needed to sublimate and condense a spirit crystal. Chapter 1925. When Qin Feng learned that the red stones in front of him were all spiritual crystals of fire, he was shocked. He knew that spiritual stones of fire were very useful for cultivators with fire spiritual root or practicing fire attribute cultivation methods, so spiritual crystals of fire were even more precious in the eyes of those cultivators. Now Qin Feng only had more than 1,000 spiritual crystals, which he found on the Life Mountain on the 0th floor of the 13th palace. Although spiritual crystals were different from spiritual crystals of fire, they were both cultivation resources, and the conditions for their formation were equally harsh. Spiritual crystals of fire required materials of fire attribute to refine, so the process of sublimation and condensation was even more complicated than that of spiritual crystals. Looking around, there were at least 10,000 spiritual crystals of fire in this small cave dwelling. Even Qin Feng, a local tyrant in the cultivation world, was shocked by such rich resources. Buzz! 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 While he was shocked, a buzzing sound came from the small cave dwelling, which was less than 30 square meters, like the sound of bees flapping their wings. Qin Feng woke up immediately and was shocked by the scene in front of him. A large number of fire spirit insects flew out of nowhere. These insects gathered together and looked like a large group of burning flames. The temperature in the cave suddenly rose, and the rock walls were burning red. After less than half an hour, the molten rocks dripped down from above, and the cave became like a cave of fire. Some of the lava landed on Qin Feng's body and made a sizzling sound, burning a few large holes in his clothes. He hurriedly put on a set of high-grade spirit armor and circulated his true essence to protect his body at the same time. When true essence appeared around his body, it was burned by the extremely high temperature in the cave abode until it became illusory, and he felt as if the space had become distorted. What powerful fire spiritual insects! The level of the fire spiritual insects in this cave dwelling is definitely higher than those in the cave, Qin Feng murmured in his heart. After the group of fire spiritual insects appeared, they all landed on the spiritual crystals of fire on the ground. Qin Feng realized that these fire spiritual insects had been living in this cave dwelling for a long time to survive and evolve by absorbing the fire attribute energy in the spiritual crystals of fire. Previously, he had used the spirit sunflower to subdue a fire spirit insect leader. At this time, he brought out the spirit sunflower sky fire, but after the sky fire appeared, it was surrounded by countless fire spirit insects. The dense spirit insects were like a burning fireball, and the spirit sunflower blue fire in the fireball could not be seen at all. After waiting for a while, he did not see the spirit sunflower break through the fire spirit insects and come out of the fireball. Master, the fire spirit insects in here have already evolved to a very high level. With the current intensity of the spirit sunflower's flames, it's impossible to subdue them, Little Pig anxiously said. Qin Feng was shocked. The spirit sunflower was ranked 20th on the divine continent. How could it fail to suppress these fire bugs? Little Pig continued to say, Master, actually, every type of heavenly flame can be upgraded. The spirit sunflower is still in its initial state, unable to display its true power. If it were to be upgraded, the fire spirit bug would naturally be no match for it. Qin Feng knew that deviant flames could level up. Previously, when he was exploring the White Spirit Mountain in the North Sand Continent, there was an extremely powerful cultivator sealed within the stone walls of the mountain cave. That old man had given Qin Feng quite a number of treasures, including a level 7 spiritual herb, Fire Spirit Lotus. The Fire Spirit Lotus had a wide range of uses. It was mainly used to refine the Spirit Lotus pill. The Spirit Lotus pill was one of the few rare pills on the divine continent that could remove pill toxins from the body. From the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills, Qin Feng knew that the Fire Spirit Lotus had an even more precious use, which was to nurture the heavenly flame. In the White Spirit Mountain, Qin Feng had obtained a total of 3 Fire Spirit Lotuses, but he hadn't used them yet. He originally wanted to keep them to refine the Spirit Lotus pill, but in the end, he met Yuanqio while exploring the 13 palaces. She gave him 100 immortals flower, which he refined into the spirit cleansing pill, which could also remove pill toxins. Just as his mind was filled with thoughts, he noticed that the temperature in the small cave had reached a new height. The rock layer above his head had turned into molten lava, which fell down like raindrops. Even the high-grade spiritual armor on Qin Fen's body couldn't withstand the high temperature, and several cracks appeared on it. His true essence turned into mist and dissipated. When a few drops of molten lava followed the cracks and burned his body, his skin, flesh, and bones were instantly melted. Ah! This cave is now at a temperature of thousands of degrees. Ordinary true spirit realm cultivators would melt instantly if they were placed inside. Qin Fen realized the crisis of the situation, which was very different from the ones he had encountered before. In the past, no matter how powerful his opponents were, Qin Fen could at least think of a way to fight back. However, the crisis this time was the ultra-high temperature. He couldn't possibly find a fire extinguisher to cool down the temperature. The high temperature was obviously caused by the fire spirit insects, but there were tens of millions of them in the cave. How could he eliminate them all? Qin Fen even wanted to take out the ranged light sniper and blow it up, but he was worried that it would melt as soon as he took it out. Even if he could blow it up, he would suffer in such a small space. In just a few seconds, dozens of ideas flashed through Qin Fen's mind, but he rejected them all. He didn't have time to think anymore. He immediately took out the 3 fire spirit lotuses and threw them at the fire spirit insects in the air. The fire spirit insects were obviously not interested in the fire spirit lotuses, but the spirit sunflower fire seeds suddenly became agitated and rushed out of the encirclement of the fire spirit insects. The fire spirit sunflower fire seed shot out, bringing a glimmer of hope to Qin Fen. Then, the blue flame became more and more vigorous, like a bloody mouth, and swallowed the 3 fire spirit lotuses. The spirit sunflower fire seed kept making loud noises, as if there were dozens of tons of bombs hidden inside. The flames rose high and almost filled half of the cave. When the violent movement stopped, Qin Fen's eyes lit up. The shape of the spirit sunflower fire seed had changed. It was originally just a ball of flame, but now it was in the shape of a sunflower petal. The fire seed floated quietly in the air. It seemed quiet, but the blue flame contained an extremely violent aura, as if it could swallow everything. The spirit sunflower has advanced? Qin Fen was surprised. He didn't have much time to think and immediately urged the spirit sunflower. In just a moment, the spirit sunflower turned into a blue shadow and disappeared. Its speed was obviously faster than before. When it flew to the fire spirit insects, the sunflower petal flame suddenly rose and swallowed tens of millions of fire spirit insects in an instant. A consciousness appeared in Qin Fen's mind, and it was connected to his thoughts. Qin Fen knew that the leader of the fire spirit insects had been subdued, which meant that the spirit sunflower fire seed had advanced. The intensity of the flame after the upgrade was several times stronger, and it could even burn a cultivator at the later stage of Buddha light into nothingness. After subduing the leader of the fire spirit insects, Qin Fen immediately ordered it to suppress the fire spirit qi in its body. The rest of the fire spirit insects did the same, and the super high temperature of the cave gradually returned to normal. This time, the system didn't give out a reward. It seemed that no matter how many fire spirit insects were subdued, it would only give out a reward once. At this time, the appearance of the cave changed dramatically. Many melted rock layers turned into the shape of icicles hanging on the roof, and it looked like a small cave. "Master! Quickly put away the fire spirit crystal. Actually, this kind of spirit crystal can also help the fire attribute mystical flame advance," Little Pig said. Qin Fen had already started to collect the fire spirit stones on the ground. He found that these fire spirit crystals didn't melt under the super high temperature, and they lay intact on the ground. Qin Fen already knew about mystical flames. He knew that some mystical flames were of the fire attribute. For example, the spirit sunflower and purple flame that he collected belonged to the fire attribute. However, there were also mystical flames of the water attribute. Those flames were gentle like water and had no temperature. There were even mystical flames of the ice attribute. Not only did the fire seed have no temperature, but it was also so cold that it made people shiver. There were tens of thousands of fire spirit crystals in this cave, and Qin Fen planned to use them to advance the spirit sunflower and purple flame. When he saw the change in the strength of the spirit sunflower after its advancement, Qin Fen was extremely surprised. Now, the spirit sunflower only had one sunflower leaf. If it was advanced to its peak state, who knew how powerful it would be? Rumble! Just as Qin Fen put away the fire spirit stones and was about to leave, a loud noise came from the stone door at the entrance of the cave, and there were voices. Senior Zhao, there is a cave here, but the door is sealed. Could young hero Qiao be trapped inside? Young hero Qiao, I am sure you. Are you inside? Everyone back off. The temperature of this stone door is very high. There might be fire spirit insects inside. The noisy voices fell into Qin Fen's ears. He knew that Zhao Ziyu and the others found him when they found out that he was missing. Seeing that these people didn't abandon him, Qin Fen felt a surge of warmth in his heart. Senior Zhao, I am inside. Everyone, stand further away. I have a way to get out. Qin Fen shouted, and the crowd immediately backed off. In fact, there was a space-separating array at the entrance of the cave, which was similar to the space-separating array in the middle layer of the 10,000 Insect Valley. It was a level 9 array. When Qin Fen saw the formation, his heart was filled with shock. He really couldn't understand why such a powerful rank 9 teleportation formation would be set up in such a small cave. Could it be that this cave was the cultivation place of some almighty being? These thoughts flashed by, and the most important thing now was to get out. Fortunately, the space-separating array on the entrance of the cave was also very old, and the aura of the array was already very weak. Qin Fen just set up a teleportation array and left smoothly. He was teleported to the outermost cave and ran all the way back. Zhao Ziyu and the others were still waiting for Qin Fen to break through the door. When they heard Qin Fen's voice from behind, the 5 of them were shocked. Fellow Taoists, I am fine. Ah? Young hero Qiao, you were in that cave, weren't you? Why did you come out from behind? Did young hero Qiao use a teleportation array? You are a formation master, right? By the way, young hero Qiao, why did the door of the cave close by itself? What did you find in it? Everyone was talking at once. Qin Fen said with a smile. The reason why the door of my cave is closed is that I set up a space-separating array on it. As long as someone walks in, the array will automatically take effect. I happen to have a short-distance teleportation array with me, so I was teleported into the tunnel of the cave. That cave is a little strange. Except for a large group of fire spiritual insects, I didn't find any other treasures. Besides, the temperature in the cave is extremely high, and I almost melted in it. I suggest that you don't go in. Qin Fen didn't mention the spiritual crystal of fire, because he could see that none of them had a spiritual root of fire or practiced with fire properties. Those spiritual crystals of fire would be useless to them. However, Qin Fen felt a little guilty for pocketing the spiritual crystals of fire. When they took out the treasures they found and wanted to share with him, he didn't take any. Chapter 1926. When everyone took out the items they had found, Qin Fen discovered that the items in this cave were all related to the fire attribute. Especially when he saw that there were a few fire attribute martial technique manuals among the treasures, a few conjectures suddenly appeared in his mind. Based on his current exploration experience, the basin in the depths of 10,000 Insect Valley seemed to be a holy land for cultivation. Or rather, it was a cultivation sect. Moreover, it was a cultivation sect that mainly focused on fire element cultivation techniques. If this really was a holy land for a sect in the past, Qin Fen could not imagine how powerful that sect was during its golden age. This was because the basin was boundless and there were countless cultivation caves. Even the few 7-star sects in the South Flat Continent did not have the grandeur of this place. However, this huge sect of the past had somehow become an abandoned place. Moreover, it was called 10,000 Insect Valley. Could it be that this was a sect that reared spiritual insects in the past? However, after seeing the fire element cultivation techniques and martial techniques, Qin Fin did not think so simply. He felt that these spiritual insects might have entered this place later. Just like the level 6 spirit guiding formation added to the level 9 space separating formation at the entrance, these spiritual insects might have been brought in by the guy who set up the spirit guiding formation. He must have treated this abandoned sect ruins as a holy land for rearing spiritual insects. When these thoughts popped up in his mind, Qin Fin was shocked. If it was really as he guessed, then who was the person who reared these spiritual insects? Isn't he a little too terrifying? Young hero Qiao, don't be so polite with everyone. We agreed before we entered that we would split the treasures we find equally. Senior Zhao and Senior Lu will get an extra share. Stonefish's voice pulled Qin Fin back to reality. He hurriedly tossed aside the messy thoughts in his mind. Even if his guesses were true, it had nothing to do with him. Big brother Stonefish, I'm not being polite with everyone. I saw that the treasures here are basically used by cultivators with fire spirit roots. I have no use for them at all. Qin Fin found a random excuse. He was actually a cultivator with a full spirit root. Fire element treasures were also effective for him. Stonefish believed him and did not try to persuade him further. None of the people in the group were cultivators with fire spirit roots. Therefore, the treasures they found were not very useful to everyone. It was not important whether they split it or not. Since there are treasures in this cave, I believe there are other caves as well. Let's continue exploring. Criticism's eyes shone with excitement. The others were also eager to make a move. They had already seen the situation of this large basin. The basin was boundless, and there were countless caves. If every cave really had treasures, then everyone would be rich. However, Qin Fin wasn't so optimistic. He even guessed that if this basin was once the base of a cultivation sect, then even if there were treasures in the other caves, they would be related to cultivators with fire spiritual roots. Everyone was in high spirits, and immediately went to explore other caves. Every time before entering a cave, Qin Fin would throw out a leaf of a rank 7 spiritual herb, the 100 Immortals flower. After confirming that there were no spirit-devouring insects in the cave, everyone would then enter. After an entire day, the 6 of them found 3 caves. Each cave had some treasures, and just as Qin Fin had guessed, the treasures were all related to the fire attribute. This time, Qin Fin was even more certain of his guess. This place was most likely a large fire elementalist sect in the past. Just from the treasures found in each cave, Qin Fin could feel the glory of this sect in the past. Senior Zhao, why are they all fire elemental items? The others also discovered something, and their excitement gradually died down. No one knew what Zhao Ziyu was thinking, but his expression changed unpredictably. Finally, he calmed down and said, I'm guessing that all the caves here have some fire elemental items. Since there are no fire spiritual roots cultivators among us, why don't we leave? What if we can find other treasures in the other caves? Huan Jinji wasn't willing to give up. Criticism said, I think Senior Zhao is right. The other caves most likely also have fire elemental items. Did anyone notice? Almost everything in this place is related to fire elemental items. Could this be a holy land for fire elementalists in the past? It wasn't just Qin Fin who had his suspicions. The others also thought of this. However, no one could give a definite answer. If this place really was a fire elementalist sect in the past, then how powerful was this sect back then? Senior Brother Nyo, hurry to the Thousand Lotus Lake. A rank 9 spiritual herb appeared there. Someone shouted in the empty basin. This news seemed to have grown wings and instantly spread throughout the basin. Qin Fin and the others who were discussing whether to stay or leave were all shocked. A rank 9 spiritual herb appeared. Senior Zhao, what is the Thousand Lotus Lake? Qin Fin immediately asked. Even he didn't have a rank 9 spiritual herb. Zhao Ziyu's old eyes flashed as his voice trembled. I've heard Senior Brother say that the Thousand Lotus Lake is the deepest part of the Thousand Insect Valley. There's a lotus lake there with dense spirit energy in the lake. Those lotuses are blooming vigorously, making people forget to go home. Senior Zhao, then let's go take a look. Even if we can't get a rank 9 spiritual herb, it's good to broaden our horizons. Lu Jiao and the others all showed excitement. They all knew themselves. There were hundreds of teams that came to the depths of the 1,000 Insect Valley. There were many Hollow God state powerhouses and a few body condensation state powerhouses. There were even 1 or 2 cauldron-filling state powerhouses. In front of so many powerhouses, Zhao Ziyu's team was just below average. They didn't have any thoughts of fighting for the rank 9 spiritual herb. I also don't know where the 1,000 Lotus Lake is, but everyone is rushing over there. Let's just follow the crowd. Even Zhao Ziyu had never seen a rank 9 spirit herb before, so she immediately led a group of cultivators. Qin Feng suppressed the excitement in his heart and kept thinking about one question. If there really was a rank 9 spiritual herb in the 1,000 Lotus Lake, how could he take it in front of all the Hollow God state, body condensation state, and cauldron-filling state powerhouses? After thinking about it, Qin Feng felt that there was only one way, and that was to obtain the rank 9 spirit herb as soon as possible, and then immediately hide in the astral world. However, this method was very dangerous. Not to mention whether he could successfully obtain the level 9 spirit herb in front of the body condensation state and cauldron-filling state cultivators. Even if he really obtained it and hid in the astral space, wouldn't that expose the secret of the system? Would those cauldron-filling state cultivators find the astral space, tear the space, and rush in? After thinking for a long time, he heard a commotion. When he looked up, he saw hundreds of cultivators surrounding a lotus lake. The lake water was clear and the wind created ripples. The lotus leaves swayed with the wind, setting off the blooming lotus in the lake. The scenery was very beautiful. Qin Feng didn't appreciate the lake water. His eyes fell on the most flourishing lotus in the center of the lake. This lotus was in full bloom. The petals were huge and the color was fiery red. It was as if there was a lotus fire burning in the center of the lake. This fire immediately reminded Qin Feng of the spirit sunflower. Now that the spirit sunflower had evolved into the shape of a lotus, it was very similar to the huge lotus petals in the center of the lake. Rank 7 spiritual herb fire spirit lotus! Someone exclaimed. Someone immediately retorted. Don't talk nonsense if you don't know. That's definitely not a rank 7 fire spirit lotus. It's the best among the fire spirit lotuses. The 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. Many people exclaimed when they heard the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. Qin Feng also revealed a shocked expression. He found that the blooming red lotus was really the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. Actually, the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus was also a type of fire spirit lotus. Ordinary fire spirit lotuses were rank 7 spiritual herbs. Qin Feng had 3 of them not long ago, and used them to evolve his spirit sunflower. As for the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus, there probably wouldn't be 1 in 10,000 ordinary fire spirit lotuses. This was considered a variant of the fire spirit lotus, but it had mutated into an extremely precious bloodline and became a rank 9 spiritual herb. According to the introduction in the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills, if the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus was refined into a spirit lotus pill, it would definitely be a top-notch spirit lotus pill. The effects of this spirit lotus pill were completely different from using the rank 7 spiritual herb fire spirit lotus. The spirit lotus pill refined from the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus could remove the pill toxins of all elixirs below the level of immortal pills. It could be said that in the South Flat Continent, as long as one had the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus, one's body would no longer have pill toxins. If one used the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus to nurture a heavenly flame, the effects would be several times stronger than an ordinary fire spirit lotus. However, there was another record in the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills. It was said that the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus was an excellent immortal herb for nurturing the primordial spirit. It could strengthen a weak primordial spirit. Qin Feng had only heard about the primordial spirit recently. It was something that only appeared in the body condensation realm. When a void spirit realm cultivator broke through to the body condensation realm, the 9 clones would fuse to form a new body. That body was called the primordial spirit. On the divine continent, true spirit realm cultivators condensed true essence in their bodies to form a spirit pill. As long as the spirit pill was not destroyed, they could be reborn. However, their cultivation would be lost. After stepping into the void spirit realm, they would produce clones. As long as the clones were not destroyed, even if their physical body was destroyed, they could use the clones to reconstruct their original body. Their cultivation would be determined by the clone's cultivation. Genius cultivators could also comprehend the existence of the realm. After breaking through to the body condensation realm, the 9 clones would fuse into the primordial spirit. As long as the primordial spirit was not destroyed, it could travel tens of thousands of miles and return to its peak state after finding its physical body. It could even possess other people's souls. It's really the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. It's an existence that is known as an immortal herb. It's said that the spirit lotus pill refined from the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus is very different. It can remove all pill toxins. There were many discussions among the crowd. On the divine continent, no one had ever heard of an immortal pill. Even the best pill refiner could only refine level 9 rank 7 king pills. Hence, the spirit lotus pill refined from the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus could remove all pill toxins. Hearing everyone's heated discussion, Qin Fen realized that basically no one knew that the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus could nourish the primordial spirit. Otherwise, with the miraculous effect of nourishing the primordial spirit, removing pill toxins would not even be worth mentioning. When the news of a level 9 spiritual herb appearing in the Thousand Lotus Lake spread, almost all the teams that were exploring the deeper regions rushed over. The lakeside was surrounded by a dense crowd of cultivators. Among them, the lowest cultivation was at the advanced stage of Buddha Light Realm. High-level cultivators had Ekayana Cauldron Realm cultivators. True spirit cultivators were the most common. There were also quite a number of void spirit cultivators. Such a spectacular formation would be shocking even in the South Flat Continent. Qin Fen suddenly thought that if this was brought to the North Sand Continent, it would probably scare a 5-star sect to the point of sealing their doors. Chapter 1927. Haha! Elder Yuyan, there really is a level 9 spiritual herb here! A familiar voice sounded in Qin Feng's ears. It was the Jiang family members who had rushed over. Everyone, don't get too excited. The 9-leaf fire spirit lotus isn't that easy to pick. Let's wait and see. Jiang Yuyan stood by the lake. Her face was calmer than the lake water. Many more people landed. These people were mostly from large factions. There was no lack of faux god realm elders of 5-star sects and a few 6-star factions. Just as the crowd was in an uproar, a majestic aura shot over from afar. The cultivators around the Thousand Lotus Lake looked over. They didn't even care about the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus in the middle of the lake. Who is it? Such a powerful aura! Time Mountain's Grand Elder Xiazhong. Looks like this 9-leaf fire spirit lotus belongs to Time Mountain. Rumor has it that Grand Elder Xiazhong reached cauldron-filling state a few years ago. This is my first time seeing a cauldron-filling state almighty. A black figure flashed over and landed on the center of the Thousand Lotus Lake. The figure's body was surrounded by a haze of light, making it hard to see if it was real or not. Ripples appeared on the surface of the lake under his feet, and a strong and ferocious aura enveloped the entire lake. Qin Feng's heart immediately became anxious. He felt that the entire Thousand Lotus Lake was under the control of the other party, and he could forget about stealing the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. Big brother Shiryu, who is that? Qin Feng asked in a low voice. Shiryu, who was standing next to him, was shocked. He looked at Qin Feng in astonishment. You don't know? That's the Grand Elder Xiazhong of a 7-star sect. He's famous in the South Flat State. As a native cultivator of the South Flat State, everyone has heard of him. Qin Feng realized that he had asked a stupid question. He pretended to say, I see. I usually cultivate in seclusion in the sect. This is my first time leaving the mountain. There are many things I don't know. Sure you didn't doubt Qin Feng's words. Instead, he was more curious about the sect Qin Feng was in. He had asked before, but Qin Feng didn't say anything. Sure you guessed that Qin Feng was at least from a 6-star sect. He might even be a disciple of one of the few 7-star sections. Otherwise, with Qin Feng's age, how could he have reached the middle stage of the true spirit realm? Furthermore, he had so many treasures on him, including the heavenly fire spirit sunflower and the level 700 immortal flower. Fortunately, Qin Feng could not see through Stonefish's thoughts. Otherwise, he would have been depressed to death. Qin Feng was not even a disciple of a 5-star sect, let alone a 6 or 7-star sect. He was just a rogue cultivator who had escaped from the northern sand region. When Qin Feng learned of Xia Zhong's identity, he exclaimed inwardly. It turned out that Xia Zhong was the great elder of a 7-star sect, Time Mountain. No wonder his cultivation was so high. Qin Feng had been in the South Flat Continent for half a year, and he had already come into contact with 3 7-star sects: Time Mountain's elder Xia Zhong, Wind God Valley's Vice Valley Master Gu Wanjiao, who had opened the 13 palaces, and Du Xiuyao's genius disciple, Lin Shi, whom he had killed on the 7th floor of the 13 palaces. Thinking of Lin Shi, Qin Feng thought of Gu Xiuyao's great elder, Lin Sui. That old man had also stepped into the Ekiana realm and had started looking for him after the exploration of the 13 palaces. Gu Xiaoyao was probably hunting him down in the entire South Flat Continent. Qin Feng instantly felt depressed. He realized that he was wanted by all the sects in both the Northern Sand region and the South Flat Continent. Xia Zhong stood in the middle of the lake for a moment, and said, "Fellow Taoists, I found a 9-leaf fire spirit lotus in the 10,000 lotus lake in the depths of the 10,000 insect valley today. This fire spirit lotus has completely bloomed. As the great elder of a 7-star sect, Time Mountain, I will naturally not bully others. This fire spirit lotus has a total of 9 spirit leaves, 881 spirit lotus seeds, and 1 spirit lotus. I will only take 1 spirit lotus now. The rest of the spirit leaves and seeds will be distributed among everyone." Everyone knew. Of the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus, the spirit lotus was the most precious. It was the main ingredient used to refine the spirit lotus pill. Although the spirit leaves and the spirit lotus contained a large amount of spirit qi, they could not be used to refine pills. However, the spirit lotus leaves could be refined into spirit weapons or even true weapons. For example, the defensive true weapon that Qin Feng had used to kill Lin Shi on the 7th level of the 13 palaces was made from a leaf of the 9-leaf banana. But then again, there were very few blacksmiths in the South Flat Continent. The number of masters that could refine true weapons could be counted on one's fingers. Therefore, even if everyone obtained the spirit leaves of the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus, most of them would be thrown into their storage rings as trash. But facing Xia Zhong, who was at the Ekiana realm, no one dared to show dissatisfaction. In other words, it was already very good of him to only take the lotus. Even if Xia Zhong said that he wanted to take the entire 9-leaf fire spirit lotus, none of the cultivators gathered by the lake would dare to stand up and say no. At this moment, only Qin Feng was extremely excited. What he valued the most wasn't the lotus, but the 9 spirit leaves. The lotus was only used to refine the spirit lotus pill. However, Qin Feng didn't need the spirit lotus pill to remove the pill poison. He could still refine the root restoring pill and the spirit cleansing pill. These pills could remove pill poison. And according to the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills, the 9 spirit leaves of the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus could nourish the primordial spirit. Presumably, even the Grand Elder of the 7-star sect, Xia Zhong, didn't know about this. Otherwise, why would he let everyone fight over the 9 spirit leaves? As for the 881 lotus seeds, they were also excellent materials for refining weapons. They could be directly consumed and could purify the primordial spirit in the body of a true spirit realm cultivator. The disciples of the Qilin Mountain agree with Senior Xia Zhong's distribution. A shout sounded. Qin Feng glanced and recognized those people's clothing. Back then, after the 13 palaces had ended, a huge exchange was held in the large square of the Panshan market. Qin Feng had his eyes on a supreme-grade sword model. Later, the elder of the Qilin Mountain, Yi Bing, competed with him and left after losing. Qin Feng quickly found Yi Bing in the group of the Qilin Mountain, but he didn't care at all. This old man's eyes were filled with killing intent. Clearly, he wouldn't let this matter go. However, Yi Bing was only at the empty spirit realm level 3. If he didn't come looking for trouble, it would be fine. As long as he came looking for trouble, Qin Feng would kill him with one slash. After the people of the Qilin Mountain shouted, dozens of sects and forces immediately agreed. In front of so many powerful sects, no one expected to snatch the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. But now, Xia Zhong gave everyone the right to compete for the spirit leaves and lotus seeds, which made them more spirited. Just from this simple action, Qin Feng could see that Xia Zhong wasn't simple. This old man not only had a high cultivation, but his thinking was even more profound. Although there was only one 7-star sect, Time Moon Mountain, and Xia Zhong's cultivation was also the highest, there were 2 powerful auras in the crowd. They were probably also in the cauldron-filling state. In addition, there were countless true spirit and hollow spirit realm cultivators and a few body condensation realm cultivators. In such an environment, Xia Zhong wasn't confident that he could take the entire 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. Therefore, he suggested that he only take the most important lotus and let everyone compete for the lotus leaves and lotus seeds. This way, everyone started to support his decision. After he took the lotus, he would receive a lot of praise. As if afraid that something bad would happen, Xia Zhong had already made his move. His figure was still hanging in the middle of the lake when he saw a true essence hand fall from midair, grabbing towards the fire spirit lotus. The moment this true essence hand appeared, the crowd at the lakeside screamed incessantly. Qin Feng was also stunned by the powerful true essence aura. That true essence seemed to condense into a solid substance, and it was hundreds of times stronger than his current true essence. Bang! But he saw that his palm had missed. The 9-leaf fire spirit lotus that was originally blooming above the lake suddenly jumped into the bottom of the lake. It was as if the fire spirit lotus had a mind of its own and was purposely avoiding Xia Zhong's true essence hand. The violent true essence spread out on the surface of the lake, causing a deafening sound to shake the entire lake. However, when the lake water shot several meters into the air, someone discovered the abnormality and let out a cry of panic. "There's something in the lake! What's that? It's so dense and disgusting. It's like blood flowing. Oh no! That's the bloodthirsty bug that's ranked 18th on the Divine Supreme Continent's spirit insect list." When someone shouted the name of the bloodthirsty bug, the crowd by the lake was shocked. In fact, many people didn't know what the bloodthirsty bug was, but after hearing its ranking, they could guess that it was very terrifying. The spirit-swallowing bug was only ranked 25th on the Divine Supreme Continent's spirit insect list. How could this blood-like flying bug be above the spirit-swallowing bug? "Senior Zhao, what's a bloodthirsty bug?" Lu Jiao was shocked. Even she, a hollow spirit realm cultivator, had never heard of it. Fei Yi and the others obviously didn't know either. Everyone looked at Zhao Ziyu with a confused and nervous expression. "That's a group of spirit insects that specialize in sucking blood. They're even more terrifying than the spirit-swallowing bug. The spirit-swallowing bug mainly devours spirit chi, while the bloodthirsty bug devours blood. They dare to devour any cultivator, no matter what level." Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Everyone had already seen how terrifying the spirit-swallowing bug was. If a group of spirit-swallowing bugs trapped a cultivator, even a body condensation realm cultivator wouldn't be able to breathe. However, everyone had already found a way to deal with the spirit-swallowing bugs. They just had to suppress the aura in their body and use other things with spirit chi to lure the spirit-swallowing bugs away. However, the bloodthirsty bugs obviously couldn't use this method because the cultivator's blood couldn't be hidden, and it was very difficult to find other blood to lure the bloodthirsty bugs away. Imagine if you were trapped by such a group of bloodthirsty bugs, what else could you do apart from waiting for death? As for how powerful the bloodthirsty bugs were, everyone was only guessing. After all, no one had actually seen the power of this group of spirit insects. However, in the next second, everyone got what they wanted. The first batch of bloodthirsty bugs that flew out from the bottom of the lake flew towards Xiaozhong. They were probably angered by Xiaozhong's action of wanting to take the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. It was also possible that Xiaozhong was the one with the highest cultivation in the group, and his bloodline was also very powerful, so he attracted the attention of the bloodthirsty bugs. However, no one cared why these bloodthirsty bugs attacked Xiaozhong first. The crowd was already stunned by the scene in front of them. The speed of the bloodthirsty bugs was even faster than the spirit-swallowing bugs. They were smaller than the spirit-swallowing bugs, but the number of bloodthirsty bugs was astonishing. It was like drops of blood gathered together, forming a scene of blood flowing in the air. Chapter 1928. Just a bunch of insects. Kill them! Xiaozhong bellowed, and another Jinyuan giant hand fell from the sky. A powerful aura swept out from the center of the lake, immediately forcing the surrounding cultivators to retreat. When Qin Fen tried to use his true essence to resist for a moment, he found that he could not control his body at all. He only stopped when he was hundreds of meters away. What a strong true essence aura! Is this the strength of a cauldron-filling state expert? The crowd was in an uproar, and they heard a loud sound like thunder exploding on the calm lake. This time, the true essence giant hand was completely different from the last time. Just now, Xiaozhong had only picked the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus, but this time, he attacked the flying bloodthirsty bugs. The innumerable spirit insects were pressed into the bottom of the lake by the true essence hand, just like the 5-finger mountain of Buddha falling into the center of the lake. The lake water and the myriad lotus lakes splashed everywhere. The power of a single palm had scattered half of the lake water. With this palm strike, the 9-leaf fire spiritual lotus hidden at the bottom of the lake appeared once again. Without thinking, Xiaozhong once again stretched out his Jinyuan hand to grab the lotus. However, just as his hand was about to touch the lotus, he heard a sharp scream coming from Xiaozhong's mouth. What the hell is this? The crowd woke up from the shock of the power of the palm, but they were stunned by the scene in front of them again. On the true essence palm, a dense swarm of bloodthirsty bugs flew out. Those small bugs were very fast and immediately shot towards Xiaozhong's body. Even if Xiaozhong reacted immediately to resist, a few small bugs still entered his body. A loud sound came from his body, and true essence seemed to explode. A powerful aura rampaged in the air. What's going on? First Elder Xiaozhong seems to be possessed? He must have been invaded by the bloodthirsty bugs. Those bugs are devouring Elder Xiaozhong's bloodline. It's too terrifying. I don't want the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus anymore, not even a spirit lotus seed. If I don't leave now, I'll die. Even First Elder Xiaozhong, who was a cauldron-filling state expert, was affected, and many cultivators immediately ran away in fear. Senior Zhao, let's go. Sure, you and the others were also afraid. Even without these bloodthirsty worms, it would be difficult for us to get the lotus leaves and seeds with our current strength. Why don't we explore the other caves while everyone is fighting here? Lu Jiao suggested. They immediately came to an agreement, but Qin Feng said, "You guys go search for treasures in the cave first. I'll give you this 100 Immortals flower leaf. I'll stay and see what happens." Zhao Ziyu immediately advised, "Young hero Qiao, I know you have many treasures, but it will be difficult for you to snatch the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. Why don't you leave with us?" The others also looked worriedly at Qin Fen. Even though Qin Fen's performance was extremely shocking, in front of the body condensation state and cauldron-filling state supreme beings, no one was optimistic about Qin Fen. "I appreciate everyone's good intentions, but I have my own plans," Qin Feng insisted. The others had anxious expressions on their faces. They didn't want to abandon Qin Feng. In their opinion, if Qin Feng stayed by the myriad lotus lake, only death awaited him. Zhao Ziyu hesitated for a moment before making his decision. He felt that Qin Feng was hiding many secrets that no one knew. Okay then, young hero Qiao, be careful. I'll keep this 100 Immortals flower leaf for now. We'll meet at the exit in a day and I'll return it to you. Qin Feng left the 100 Immortals flower leaf for everyone to use to test if there were spirit-devouring worms in the cave. As for the level 7 spirit herb, Qin Feng didn't care much about it. He didn't even think about taking it back when he gave it away. Seeing Zhao Ziyu and the others leave, Qin Feng let out a sigh of relief. Perhaps in their eyes, Qin Feng's cultivation was the lowest, but in Qin Feng's eyes, the 5 of them were a burden. In just half an incense's time, more than half of the hundreds of cultivators that gathered by the myriad Lotus Lake had escaped. Those that dared to stay were at least true spirit realm, and most of them were at the late stage. Qin Feng was the weakest cultivator among the cultivators that stayed. When some hollow spirit realm cultivators saw him, they revealed a playful expression. In just half an incense's time, there was a huge change in the myriad Lotus Lake. The originally clear and calm lake was now blood-red, as if it was a pool of blood. Everyone became nervous at this moment. Everyone knew that this wasn't a pool of blood. The blood red was the bloodthirsty worms that flew out from the bottom of the lake. There were too many of them, and they actually filled the entire Lotus Lake. Oh my God! So many bloodthirsty worms? Even hollow spirit realm cultivators would die. I'll go first. After the change at the bottom of the lake, another large group of experts left. Those that dared to stand by the shore were basically hollow spirit realm cultivators, and there were a few body condensation realm cultivators. In the process of escaping, the 2 Qilin Mountain disciples suddenly stopped. They looked at Qin Feng and shouted, "Elder Yibing, it's that brat. I didn't expect to meet him here. It's a pity that the situation is critical, and we don't have the time to make a move." The 2 disciples were happy and worried at the same time. Back at the Panshan Market Square, Yibing had already waited in the corner of the square with the disciples to chase after Qin Feng. In the end, Qin Feng had displayed too many treasures and attracted the attention of many experts. So when he left, he took out the flying cloud all and sped up. Yibing and the others couldn't catch up even if they wanted to. She didn't expect to meet him again, but it wasn't the right time to make a move. Yibing cursed Qin Feng for being too lucky in her heart and said to the 2 disciples, "Let's retreat. That idiot is only at true spirit realm 6, if he doesn't leave, we'll let the bloodthirsty worms drink his blood." Qin Feng saw Yibing and the others run away, but he didn't chase after them. He didn't care about a small fry like Yibing at all. At this moment, there were 4 men running in his direction in panic. They were running for their lives, and there was a large group of bloodthirsty worms chasing after them. It was like a mass of blood flying through the air. "Stinking brat, get out of the way!" The man at the front roared at Qin Feng. Someone behind him said anxiously, "Elder Kuhai, don't talk nonsense with that brat. Why don't we just kill him and use his blood to temporarily stop the bloodthirsty worms?" The eyes of the other 2 disciples lit up. They could try their senior brother's idea. Since the spirit-swallowing worms could be lured away with spiritual items, they believed that the bloodthirsty worms could be lured away with someone else's blood. Elder Kuhai had already slashed his sword at Qin Feng. That slash was completely casual. Kuhai was already at Nihility God Realm Level 2, so he thought that Qin Feng was just a true Spirit Realm 6 ant. He believed that this casual slash would be enough to kill Qin Feng. However, there was a loud explosion on Kuhai's body, and blood sprayed out from his abdomen. Kuhai stopped running, and his eyes widened. He looked at his empty abdomen in disbelief, feeling that everything was like a dream. Qin Feng recognized the 4 people. They were all wearing the Wind Element Sect's uniform. Back when they were exploring the 13 palaces, the Wind Element Sect's disciple Ku Di wanted to do something to Yu Wanqiu on the Green Summit Mountain, but he was beaten up by Qin Feng. Later, Ku Di used the array door as an excuse to trick Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu to where his fellow sect members were. In the end, he was killed by Qin Feng. Speaking of the Wind Element Sect, Qin Feng really had to thank Ku Di and Ku Zhu. If it wasn't for them leading the way, Qin Feng wouldn't have found the arrayed door to the 8th palace. The sudden death of a Nihility God Stage Level 2 sovereign scared the 3 disciples who followed him into a daze. The one with the lowest cultivation was at the late True Spirit Realm, so they could tell that Qin Feng was only at True Spirit Realm 6. That was why they shouted for Elder Ku Hai to kill Qin Feng. However, this middle stage True Spirit Ant killed the Nihility God Realm Level 2 Elder Ku Hai with one move. The 3 disciples had already forgotten about the bloodthirsty worms chasing them. They just stared at Qin Feng in a daze and were devoured by the bloodthirsty worms in the end. Qin Feng saw the bloodthirsty worms attack from a close distance, and felt a wave of fear. These bloodthirsty insects were as unreasonable as the spirit-swallowing insects, immediately swallowing the blood as soon as they saw it. The 3 late-stage True Spirit Realm disciples gave pitiful cries as their flesh and bones quickly disappeared. Finally their blood sprayed out, and was sucked away by the countless bloodthirsty insects. In just 15 minutes, the 3 True Spirit Realm disciples were completely devoured. The bloodthirsty worms did not stop and immediately flew behind Qin Feng, not even letting the dead Ku Hai go. Qin Feng's scalp went numb. He was already afraid of these bloodthirsty worms. He could deal with the spirit-swallowing worms, but he did not have any other bloodline to lure these bloodthirsty worms away. He was not the only one being attacked. All the cultivators who had not left the 10,000 Lotus Lake were being chased by the bloodthirsty worms. Many True Spirit Realm cultivators were instantly killed, and even a few Nihility God Realm experts were completely devoured. In the end, even their clones could not escape. Xiaozhong, who was standing in the center of the lake, had disappeared. Even his aura could not be sensed within a few thousand meters. It could be seen that he had used an escape talisman to escape. A cauldron-filling state expert was helpless in front of the bloodthirsty worms. In the end, he did not even give up the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus and fled. The remaining cultivators did not even think about it, and those body condensation stage experts did not dare to stay. Qin Feng became the only cultivator who did not run. He stood closest to the 10,000 Lotus Lake. He was over 200 meters away from the 10,000 Lotus Lake because the closer he was to the 10,000 Lotus Lake, the more bloodthirsty worms there were. When he saw that there was no one by the Lotus Lake, Qin Feng was relieved. He was waiting for the others to escape so he could use his trump card without any worries. Rumble! When the bloodthirsty worms finished devouring Ku Hai's bloodline and rushed over, Qin Feng immediately sent out a spirit sunflower flame. A blue sunflower-shaped flame rose into the sky. The flame was over 3 meters high, and instantly enveloped a large number of bloodthirsty worms. The temperature of the upgraded spirit sunflower flame was extremely high. Qin Feng immediately felt that the air was illusory. The bloodthirsty worms were quickly ignited by the flame, and even made a violent explosion sound. Qin Feng was immediately relieved. It seemed that the spirit sunflower flame was effective against the bloodthirsty worms. But in the next second, he was depressed. It seemed that the bloodthirsty worms floating on the surface of the 10,000 Lotus Lake had all flown over. It was like moths flying into a flame. Crackle! Qin Feng immediately shot out a few more fireballs, and the air rang out continuously, like the crisp sound of frying beans. Although the upgraded spirit sunflower's flames were very strong, it was still unable to burn tens of thousands of flying insects in one go. A few blood-red flashed, passed through the spirit sunflower flame and flew to Qin Feng. Chapter 1929. Boom! A loud sound came from Qin Feng's body as if something had exploded. He stood there in a daze and the spirit sunflower flame suddenly extinguished. Countless bloodthirsty insects crawled all over his body, looking like human blood. The devouring ability of the bloodthirsty insects was even stronger than the spirit-swallowing insects. Qin Feng's high-level spirit armor instantly shattered and he felt more and more insects burrowing into his body, drinking his blood. "Master, quickly go to the astral space," Little Pig anxiously said. Qin Feng also wanted to escape, but he felt like his brain wasn't listening to him. There was only a subconscious that wanted to escape, but he couldn't even send out that order. This was the first time he had felt death so close. Qin Feng regretted staying behind. Even Xiaozhong, who was at cauldron-filling realm, had no choice but to escape, let alone a true Spirit Realm 6 cultivator like him. Even with the support of the system, he didn't even have a chance to communicate with the system. Rumble! Explosions continued to come from Qin Feng's body. He could feel his veins and blood being devoured. No wonder Xiaozhong was helpless against these insects. When these insects were in your veins, you couldn't do anything to them unless you exploded your true essence, but that would only cause both sides to suffer. It wasn't just his body that was exploding, Qin Feng could also hear explosions in his head. There were also many blood vessels in his brain. It seemed like some of the insects had already burrowed into his brain. Just thinking about it made Qin Feng feel terrified. He tried to use his divine sense to attack, but his divine sense had automatically sealed itself. It was as if he was afraid of these insects invading. This time, Qin Feng really couldn't do anything. Ever since he had obtained the hedonist sovereign system, this was the first time he had felt so helpless. He felt like he was waiting for death. Whoosh! At this moment, Qin Feng used his divine sense to scan his mind and a black shadow flashed. That black shadow was definitely not a bloodthirsty insect because it was moving very fast, and it was eating the bloodthirsty insect. That's the hunting turtle! Qin Feng quickly recognized the identity of the black shadow and was shocked. As a level 9 star beast, the light tortoise had a strong devouring ability. It ate almost everything, including spirit chi spirit stones, spirit grass spirit veins, and even cultivators' spirit pills and blood veins. However, Qin Feng never thought that this little guy would even eat bloodthirsty worms. The truth was right in front of him, and Qin Feng could not deny it. Not only could the hunting pincer devour spirit worms, but it could also devour the bloodthirsty worms at a very fast speed. A golden light shuttled through the mind, and the bloodthirsty worms disappeared in an instant. After swallowing all the worms in the brain, the hunting pincer immediately jumped into the blood vessels in the body. It opened its mouth wide like a vacuum cleaner, and all the bloodthirsty worms in the blood flew into its mouth. It was unknown how they were digested in the end. There were at least a few thousand spirit insects that flew into Qin Feng's body, but they were all devoured by the hunting turtles in a few breaths. The hunting pincer was now only the size of an earthworm. Its body was covered in a golden light, like a golden maggot swimming around. When it discovered that there were no more bloodthirsty worms to eat, the hunting pincer immediately flew out. A golden light flickered above the center of the 10,000 Lotus Lake. A shocking scene appeared. The hunting pincer opened its mouth wide, and all the light in the surroundings seemed to be devoured by it. Within a radius of 1,000 meters, a black tornado formed. Countless bloodthirsty insects were sucked into the hunting pincer's mouth and devoured completely. Holy shit! Where did this guy get his stomach to digest? Where did all those spirit insects go? After the bloodthirsty worms in his body disappeared, Qin Feng's consciousness quickly recovered. He looked at the scene in the center of the lake with shock. Little Pig was also speechless at the hunting pincer and sighed. After all, it's a rank 9-star beast. You can't use ordinary thinking to understand it. Not long ago, Qin Feng felt like he was going to die. However, after the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, all the bloodthirsty worms in the entire 10,000 Lotus Lake fled. The hunting pincer still acted as if it hadn't eaten enough and chased after those spirit insects to devour them. Qin Feng couldn't help but think that if this scene was seen by those cultivators who were fleeing, their eyes would definitely pop out of their sockets. When the hunting pincer flew far away, a few more batches of bloodthirsty worms came to attack Qin Feng. In a rage, Qin Feng summoned the hunting pincer back. The group of spirit insects were so scared that they immediately fled, but they all fell into the hunting pincer's mouth. Tiny, stay by my side and protect my safety, Qin Feng ordered. The hunting pincer looked at the large number of spirit insects fleeing in all directions and revealed a face of complaint. However, it still landed on Qin Fin's shoulder. After eating so many spirit insects, the hunting pincer's belly became a size bigger, and the golden light on its body became brighter. However, its body's size didn't seem to have changed, and it still looked like a small earthworm. Qin Fin was a bit depressed. This rank 9-star beast wouldn't always be this small, right? This was completely different from those indomitable super monsters in his impression. However, now was not the time to think about the hunting pincer's evolution. Qin Fin put aside his messy thoughts and quickly walked to the side of 10,000 Lotus Lake. At this moment, the lake water was so clear that the bottom could be seen, and not a single bloodthirsty worm could be seen. The 9-leaf fire spirit lotus lay quietly in the middle of the lake, making people drool. Qin Fin didn't go into the water. Although he was now protected by the hunting pincer, and wasn't afraid of the bloodthirsty worms, who knew if there were other dangers at the bottom of the lake. He waved his hand, and a true essence hand seal fell into the water. It was also a hand seal formed from true essence, but Qin Fin's hand seal was much weaker than Xia Zhong's true essence hand seal. When the hand seal entered the bottom of the lake, it began to quickly dissipate. It didn't even touch the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus before it disappeared. "What's going on?" Qin Fin was puzzled. Little Pig said, "Maybe it's because of the water quality. This 10,000 Lotus Lake's water is unusual, or maybe there's a formation at the bottom of the lake." Qin Fin realized that he couldn't pick the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus by standing on the shore, so he had to go into the water himself. He looked at the hunting pincer on his shoulder with an unhappy expression and felt much more at ease. With a leap, Qin Fin jumped into the lake. The moment he fell into the water, he realized that there was nothing unusual about the lake water. It was no different from an ordinary water source. It seemed like there was a defense formation at the bottom of the lake, and it was extremely rare to see a formation set up in a lotus lake. This formation was obviously set up to protect the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. This level 9 spiritual herb was planted by someone? Qin Fin immediately realized a shocking fact. This fire spirit lotus definitely didn't grow in the wild. Someone had planted it in this 10,000 Lotus Lake. He even suspected that this 10,000 Lotus Lake didn't exist in the past. Instead, it was a lake specially built by that person to cultivate a mature 9-leaf fire spirit lotus. To be able to build a lake in the depths of the 10,000 Insect Valley and grow a level 9 spiritual herb, one could imagine how capable the person behind the scenes was. Qin Fin immediately thought that this 9-leaf fire Lingji Zoisha was planted by the person who set up the spirit guiding formation. If that was really the case, 80% of the spiritual insects in the 10,000 Insect Valley were also raised by that person. It was unbelievable to be able to grow a top-notch spiritual herb and raise so many spiritual insects in the ruins of a sect. Qin Fin couldn't afford to offend such a powerful person. However, since he had discovered this 9-leaf fire spirit lotus, he couldn't return empty-handed. Moreover, he had been in the depths for so long, but he didn't see that powerful person appear. This could only mean that the person wasn't here at all. When these messy thoughts flashed through his mind, Qin Fin realized that he had already sunk to the bottom of the lake. This lake was much deeper than he had imagined. Standing at the edge of the lake, he felt that it was only 2 to 3 meters deep. However, after jumping into the lake, he realized that it was at least tens of meters deep. The 9-leaf fire spirit lotus was hidden at the bottom of the lake. When Qin Fin approached it, this level 9 spiritual herb displayed an aura of fear. That aura was real, and Qin Fin could clearly feel it. It seemed like this spiritual herb already had spiritual intelligence. "You will follow me from now on." Just as he steadied himself at the bottom of the lake, Qin Fin immediately reached out to grab it. It was the same huge true essence handprint, but this time, it grabbed the 9-leaf fire Lingji Zoisha. Qin Fin understood why he couldn't touch this spiritual herb when he was on the shore. This lake was much deeper than he had imagined. When the true essence broke through the water pressure of more than 30 meters, the energy had almost dissipated. Grabbing the root of the 9-leaf fire Lingji Zoisha, Qin Fin used his strength to lift it. However, he realized that the true essence handprint had dissipated again. He couldn't pull this level 9 spiritual orb at all. He didn't immediately try to pull it a second time. Instead, he quickly scanned the environment at the bottom of the lake and quickly found traces of a level 6 defense array. When he found this level 6 defense array, Qinfen was even more certain that this fire spirit lotus was planted by the powerful person who set up the spirit guiding formation. That person seemed to be a level 6 array master, and many of the array formations he set up were of a level 6 standard. Qinfen was only a level 5 spirit array master now. He couldn't set up a level 6 array, but it didn't mean that he couldn't break a level 6 large array. In fact, breaking an array was much easier than setting up an array. Even a Cauldron Ekayana Almighty who knew nothing about array formations could break a level 5 trap array in an instant. This was because an array formation was a mysterious arrangement. As long as there was enough energy to destroy the balance of this arrangement, a loophole would appear in the array formation even if it wasn't broken. The defense array was one of the easier array formations to break. As long as he kept attacking the array core, Qinfen was also a level 5 spirit array master. He could see the weakest link of this level 6 defense array and focus on attacking that link. 6 hours later, the defense array exploded with a loud bang. Before Qinfen had time to rejoice, he immediately discovered that there was a level 6 trap array hidden in the defense array. A trap array was harder to break than a defense array, but as long as he had enough time, it wouldn't be a problem for Qinfen. He once again looked for the weak point of the array formation. It took him half a day to break this level 6 trap array. Swish! The moment the trap array broke, the level 9 fire spirit lotus immediately swam away. Qinfen instantly woke up. This level 6 trap array was used to trap the fire spirit lotus. It seemed that this fire spirit lotus had long been intelligent. It was like the heavenly flame, it could walk on its own and escape the cultivator's grasp. However, how could the speed of a spiritual herb escape the hands of a true spirit cultivator? Qinfeng's big hand reached out and immediately held the root of the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus in his hand. Looking at this level 9 spiritual herb from a close distance, Qinfeng felt a strong surge of spiritual qi entering his body. He didn't need to do anything. The true essence in his dantian revolved quickly. There was a sign of a breakthrough. Boom! There was a loud explosion. However, it wasn't the sound of Qinfen's breakthrough. He found that the bottom of the lake under his feet suddenly cracked. The lake water and gravel all fell into the cracked black hole. Download app on mobile phone, Baidu search keywords, Bookkeeper app or visit official website. Chapter 1930. Fuck! What's going on? Qinfeng was shocked. This wasn't the first time he had encountered a collapse. He had encountered one in the mystic realm of Violet Cloud Valley before falling into the ancient battlefield. This time, the collapse of Myriad Lotus Lake was also very severe. He didn't know where he would fall to. Soon, Qinfeng realized that only Myriad Lotus Lake was collapsing. There was no movement in the other areas. He guessed that it was because the 9-leaf fire spirit lotus was plucked. This fire spirit lotus and the level 6 defense and trapping array at the bottom of the lake couldn't be moved at all. Otherwise, there would be a collapse. Many thoughts flashed through Qinfeng's mind. He couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. If the final location of the collapse was the hiding place of that mighty being, wouldn't he have fallen into a dragon's lair? When he realized the severity of the problem, Qinfeng immediately took out his flying sword and tried to rush out of the bottom of the lake. However, there was a flight restriction array here and he couldn't fly at all. Moreover, he realized that even without the flight restriction array, with the powerful suction force of the huge black hole below him, even a body condensation stage expert wouldn't be able to escape. After falling for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Qinfeng finally found the feeling of landing. He immediately looked around and realized that he had landed on a huge island. This island was obviously inhabited. It seemed to be a sacred sect. There were rows of buildings and there were a few groups of cultivators walking in the distance. Shit! This is Gourd Island? The base of a 6-star sect, Celestial Gourd Sect. Qin Feng's divine consciousness scanned the clothes of a few cultivators and immediately realized the severity of the situation. He had actually fallen into Gourd Island. He had come to find Gourd Island and wanted to take his sister Qin Duo away. However, he heard from Zhao Ziyu that Celestial Gourd Sect was one of the rare 6-star sects in the South Flat Continent. The sacred sect didn't allow outsiders to enter. Now that he had mysteriously landed in Celestial Gourd Sect, he would most likely die if he was discovered. Just as he was thinking, 3 powerful divine consciousnesses scanned over. Qin Feng didn't think and immediately entered the astral space. He was afraid that if he was a second late, he would die on Gourd Island. The next second after he entered the astral boundary, 3 shadows hovered above the island where he had disappeared. Although he was in the astral boundary, Qin Feng could sense the situation within a radius of several thousand meters. When he swept his gaze over the 3 shadows, he was shocked. Qin Feng couldn't see through one of them. The other 2 were at the peak stage of the hollow god state, and the other was at the primary stage of the body condensation state. There was a gourd symbol on their clothes. They were obviously from the Holy Gourd. Qin Feng didn't know what these 3 people's positions were in the Holy Gourd, but he was sure that they weren't sect leaders. They were probably Grand Elders. Even the 3 Grand Elders had such high cultivation bases, so one could only imagine how powerful the overall strength of the Holy Gourd was. Qin Feng had thought that if he didn't make a name for himself in the genius competition, he would go to Gourd Island and take Qin Duo away no matter what. However, he immediately dispelled that thought. That would be suicide. Deputy Island Master Muyang, what's going on here? One of the old men asked. The old man floating at the front said in a deep voice. The void formation gate has opened, something must have happened over there. The other old man frowned. Since the void formation gate has opened and there's an unfamiliar aura coming down, why can't we find him? This question stumped the 3 of them. They had used their divine sense to sense the aura of a true spirit cultivator, but in the blink of an eye, that guy had disappeared. The void formation gate is a big matter. I'll go report to the island master first. You 2 stay here. That guy probably has a concealment technique, you must find it for me. The vice island master called Muyang disappeared into thin air. That phantom was just a wisp of his primordial spirit. The other 2 began to use their divine sense to search bit by bit, but after a while, they revealed a surprised look. They did not find anything. That's impossible, he's just a true spirit cultivator. No matter how powerful his concealment technique is, how can he escape my divine sense? An old man's voice was cold. He had already stepped into the early stage of body condensation. The other hollow god state peak stage old man also couldn't understand. It was as if that aura had disappeared. Even though he was hiding in the star boundary, Qin Feng still felt a lingering fear. He believed that the hollow god state and body condensation state cultivators couldn't find the existence of the star boundary, but he was worried that the old man had brought someone more powerful. If a cauldron-filling state cultivator came, he might discover the star boundary. Although he was worried, Qin Feng couldn't do anything. The star boundary didn't have the ability to move. He would still be at the same place when he was teleported out. Just as he had guessed, after an hour, the old man who had left appeared again. It was as if he had appeared out of thin air. There was another shadow beside Muyang. He couldn't see his appearance at all, but the aura from his body was even stronger than Muyang's. Island Master Mu Qin! The 2 old men immediately greeted the person who had come. Mu Qin ignored the 2 of them and looked into the void. When Qin Feng fell from the bottom of the Thousand Lotus Lake, a white array gate appeared in the void. However, the array gate disappeared in a flash. When Qin Feng fell into the Gourd Island, the array gate disappeared. Qin Feng immediately realized that the person who came was the island master of the Gourd Island, the existence with the highest cultivation in the entire Immortal Gourd sect. Although Qin Feng couldn't see through this person's true realm, his aura was very similar to Xia Zhong, the great elder of the Time Mountain. This meant that this island master Mu Qin was also a cauldron-filling state cultivator. A cauldron-filling state cultivator was floating in the void before Qinfen entered the star boundary. It would be strange if Qinfen wasn't nervous. However, he gradually calmed down and found that Mu Qin was staring in the direction of the array gate that disappeared in the void. He didn't notice the existence of the star boundary. After a while, Mu Qin and Muyang disappeared, leaving the two great elders to continue searching for Qinfen. The two old men were very patient. They waited for half a month, and they didn't have any intention of leaving. During this half a month, Qinfen was looking for a way to escape. He originally planned to rush out of the star boundary after the two old men left, and then use the flying cloud all to leave the gourd island. Qinfen believed that the gourd island definitely didn't have a flight restriction array. Ordinary sects wouldn't set up such an array. Otherwise, it would waste a lot of the disciples' cultivation time. At this time, under the flight restriction array at the junction of the middle area and the deep area of the Thousand Insect Valley, Zhao Ziyu and the others were still waiting bitterly. According to the previous agreement, everyone would gather here one day later. However, they had waited for half a month, and there was still no sign of Qinfen. Sigh. Young hero Qiao is young and promising, kind and straightforward. What a pity! Shi Yu sighed, and the meaning behind his words was very clear. The others also had a look of pity on their faces. This group of exploration teams had basically left, but Qinfen still hadn't appeared. There was only one possibility, and that was that he had died in the Thousand Lotus Lake. Brother Qiao, we agreed to return you the 100 Immortals leaf. How could you break your promise? Zhao Zi looked up to the sky and sighed. His eyes flashed with determination. Let's go! A group of 6 people came, but 5 left. Although they found many treasures, they were still very depressed. Qinfen had forgotten about the agreement with Zhao Ziyu and the others. He waited in the astral world for another 3 days, and when he saw that the 2 old guys still hadn't left, he gave up on his plan to leave. According to what Zhao Ziyu had said before, the Genius Assembly that was held once every 5 years would be held in 3 months. Qinfen calculated that after the time spent exploring the Thousand Insect Valley, and the time spent in the star boundary, there was less than 2 months before the Genius Assembly would begin. A 6-star sect like the Celestial Gourd would definitely participate in the Genius Conference. Qinfen decided to stay in the astral world and cultivate. When the Celestial Gourd disciples went to participate in the Genius Conference, he would find a chance to escape during the chaos. After changing his plan, Qinfen stopped thinking and went into seclusion. Although he could kill early and middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivators with his current strength, he knew that there were many geniuses in the South Flat Continent. There were too many Nihility God Realm disciples under the age of 50. Moreover, these genius disciples were all existences that could kill those who were stronger than them. It wouldn't be easy to become famous in the Genius Conference. At this moment, Qinfen was sitting under the Tree of Life. He felt that his state of mind had reached a transcendent state. There were 3 intersecting spirit veins under his feet. They were the mid-grade Godfall Island Secret Realm Spirit Vein, the high-grade Purple Cloud Spirit Vein, and the supreme-grade spirit vein he found in the 7th Palace. The 3 spirit veins made the astral world full of spirit chi. The air was almost crystallized. Every time Qinfen breathed, he could feel the true essence in his dantian revolving quickly. His cultivation speed was astonishing. There were also 3 spirit pith ponds beside him. There were more than 1,000 spirit crystals in the spirit pith ponds. If other cultivators saw these crystals, they would definitely drool. Qinfen was very satisfied with the current environment of the astral world. The spirit chi was dense, and there were many spirit herbs. When he first obtained the astral world, this place was less than 100 square meters. With so many cultivation resources, it was enough for Qinfen to go into closed-door cultivation for a year. He sat in a spirit pith pond and didn't deliberately absorb spirit chi. He just let the creation scripture circulate on its own. Meanwhile, Qinfen was frantically absorbing the soul crystals he had obtained from the 8th Palace. Back then, he had collected more than 3,000 soul crystals. Now, he had used 1,000, which allowed his sea of knowledge to break through a realm. However, if he wanted to break through again, it would be much more difficult. Cultivation knew no time. A loud sound came from Qin Fen's body. He suddenly opened his eyes and stepped into True Spirit Realm 7. Although he had only broken through a small realm, Qin Fen felt the true essence in his body become much stronger. This small realm wasn't simple. It allowed him to go from mid-stage True Spirit Realm to late-stage True Spirit Realm. A third of the spirit pith pond was gone. Qin Fen was shocked at the amount of spirit chi he needed to break through. If it was a normal true spirit cultivator breaking through a small realm, the spirit pith pond wouldn't have much of a change. Not only did his cultivation increase, but Qin Fen found that his divine consciousness had also strengthened, reaching a new height. When he swept out with his divine sense, he could actually cover half of the astral world space. The current astral world space was over 80,000 square meters. Friends who want to read books, you can search Blue Book Bar to find this place immediately. Chapter 1931. Qin Feng found that not only did his divine sense expand, it also became more condensed. When he released his divine sense, it was like a spider's web and could even control some small items. Although he had just broken through to the 7th level of the True Spirit Realm, the Creation Sutra was still circulating crazily. The spirit essence from the spirit marrow pool was entering his body and there were signs of breaking through. Qin Feng didn't have time to cultivate. When he looked outside the star boundary, he found that the Immortal Gourd sect was very busy. It was obvious that the genius competition was about to begin. The two old men who were guarding outside finally left. Qin Fen immediately flew out of the star boundary. Just as his figure appeared on the gourd-shaped island, a few powerful divine senses swept over. Qin Fen didn't dare to waste any time. He immediately took out the soaring cloud awl and soared into the sky. There were 8 spirit crystals on the soaring cloud awl, and spirit crystals were extremely precious in the South Flat State. Using them to activate a flying magic treasure? In the entire South Flat State, only Qin Feng could do this. Under the power of the 8 spirit crystals, the soaring cloud all's speed reached its limit. A white light pierced through the sky and Qin Feng was already above the gourd island. Senior brother Mu Feng, that brat escaped? Not long after Qin Feng left, 2 figures appeared in the sky. If Qin Feng was still here, he would definitely recognize these 2 old guys. They were the people who had been guarding him for more than a month. The old man called Mu Feng had already stepped into the body condensation stage and had a surprised expression. When his divine sense swept over a few thousand meters, his eyes revealed a look of disbelief. How can this be? How can that brat avoid my divine sense search? Mu Feng wasn't the only one who couldn't figure it out. The other peak Nihility God Realm Elder was also puzzled. They had been guarding this place for more than a month and couldn't find Qin Fen. In the end, Qin Fen appeared and escaped just 2 days after they left. After flying out of the gourd island, Qin Feng let out a long sigh of relief. His soaring cloud awl was equivalent to a high-grade flying magic treasure. Now that he used 8 spirit crystals to increase his speed, even disaster transformation realm cultivators wouldn't be able to catch up. Qin Feng didn't know where the genius competition was held. After flying tens of thousands of miles away from the gourd island, he was sure that he was completely safe. He planned to find a passerby and found 2 groups of people confronting each other. These 2 groups had clearly fought. One group wore white robes and all of them were injured. Their robes were dyed red with blood. The other group of people were dressed in black robes and were shouting arrogantly. Qin Feng recognized the group of black-robed cultivators. They were from the 1,000 Dragon Gang. 2 months ago, he, Zhao Ziyu, and the others had gone to explore the 10,000 Insect Valley. At the entrance, they had been robbed by the 1,000 Dragon Gang. At that time, Qin Feng had used a level 5 trap formation to trap the 1,000 Dragon Gang and the others, and had cheated them of 50 million spirit stones. After that, Qian Long gathered dozens of experts to block the exit. However, the Lord of the Immortal Gourd later appeared in the 10,000 Insect Valley and chased away all the cultivators inside. Qianlong and the others were also scared away. Qin Feng quickly looked at the group of white-robed cultivators. He felt that the symbol on their chest was somewhat familiar. Soon he remembered that these people were wearing similar clothes to Zhao Ziyu. Thousand Dragon Gang, don't go too far. Aren't you afraid of being hunted down by our 100 Intentions sect? The leader of the white-robed group shouted angrily. The Black Dragon sneered. Pfft! What was so great about the Bai sect? In the eyes of others they may be 6-star sects, but in the eyes of the Thousand Dragon Gang, they're nothing. We're not even afraid of 7-star sects, let alone 6-star sections. Zhao Chongqing was furious, but he didn't have a plan. He was only at Nihility God Realm level 5 while Qianlong was at Nihility God Realm level 7. Moreover, Zhao Chongqing only had 5 cultivators on his side, while the other side had 12. Whether in terms of cultivation or numbers, they couldn't compare to the Thousand Dragon Gang. Zhao Chongqing and the others were well aware of the Thousand Dragon Gang's evil reputation. These bandits moved to a different place after a fight and weren't afraid of revenge from a big sect. Looking at the barren hills around him, Zhao Chongqing felt despair. It was impossible to find a kind-hearted person to help them. Moreover, the other side was the Thousand Dragon Gang. Normal cultivators couldn't wait to hide from the Thousand Dragon Gang. Cut the crap. Hand over your storage rings and I'll spare your lives. Qianlong's patience had run out. His body shot out a fierce burst of true essence. Zhao Chongqing and the others didn't move. Storage rings were as important as their lives to cultivators. Zhao Chongqing and the others were from the 6-star sect 100 Intention sect, so they had pride in their bones. How could they hand over their storage rings to a group of bandits? Very well! Since you don't want to live, this old man will fulfill your wish. With a roar, Qianlong slammed his palm towards Zhao Chongqing. Suddenly, a giant true essence hand appeared in the air. Zhao Chongqing wanted to dodge, but he found that his body seemed to be bound by something. His movements became extremely slow. Just as Zhao Chongqing was about to be torn apart by the wild and violent true essence in that palm print, another massive palm print suddenly rushed forwards, instantly dispersing the true essence palm print that the Thousand Dragons had sent out. The crowd was shocked when they saw a black shadow land on the ground. Qin Feng didn't even look at the Thousand Dragon Gang. He cupped his hands towards Zhao Chongqing and said, Junior Qiao Feng, I have some friendship with your 100 Intention sect's elder Zhao Ziyu. Zhao Chongqing was overjoyed. He didn't think that help would really come. However, after seeing Qin Feng's cultivation, his mood fell again. He immediately said to Qin Feng, Thank you, young hero Qiao. That Thousand Dragon Gang is already at Hollow Spirit Realm level 7. You're no match for him. You should leave quickly. Qin Feng had a good impression of Zhao Ziyu, which was why he helped. He found that Zhao Chongqing was a good person and didn't have any intentions of dragging him down with him. Before Qin Feng could say anything, Black Dragon let out a strange cry. Big Brother Thousand Dragon, it's the ant that cheated us of 50 million spirit stones. Qianlong had already recognized Qin Feng and revealed a fierce expression. There were a few disciples in the crowd that were present at the time, and they all stared at Qin Feng with fiendish gazes. There were a few people who came later. When they found out that someone dared to cheat Brother Thousand Dragon of 50 million spirit stones, they revealed expressions of disbelief. When they saw that Qin Feng was only at the 7th true spirit realm, they were even more puzzled. Good fellow! This old man couldn't find you outside 10,000 Insect Valley. I didn't think that you would personally come to me. Today is the day you die. Without Qianlong making a move, Black Dragon had already charged over with his golden blade. In everyone's eyes, Qin Feng was only at true spirit realm level 7 and was at the bottom of the group. They ignored the fact that Qin Feng had blocked Qianlong's attack with one palm and even thought that it was because of Qin Feng's sneak attack. Young hero Qiao, quickly leave! Zhao Chongqing shouted anxiously when he saw the golden light descending from above. Black Dragon was already at Hollow Spirit Realm level 2. Now that Zhao Chongqing was heavily injured, he couldn't even help Qin Feng block that fierce blade. Seeing that Qin Fen didn't move at all, the 100 Intention sect disciples sighed. Although they had only met Qin Fen once, Qin Fen's act of helping Elder Zhao Ziyu was appreciated by them. It was a pity that such a chivalrous youth was about to die. Chapter 1932. Seeing the injured Yuanqiu fall to the ground, Qin Fen's eyes lit up. He also punched out and collided with Lin Shi's fist force. The loud noise startled the forest, and many birds and beasts fled. Qin Fen had used a special grade Thunder Tiger flying sword fist with all his strength. The hidden killing intent of the flying swords in this fist technique had injured many experts. But this time, before the flying swords could even get close, they were blown away by the strong wind from Lin Shi's fist force. The fist force's aftershock crashed into Qin Fen's body and sent him flying to the ground. He looked at Lin Shi, who was standing there motionlessly, and a playful smile appeared on his face. After Qin Fen landed on the ground, he didn't even care about his injured body. He was shocked. The reason why he clashed with Lin Shi was to test the strength of a middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator. But after that punch, Qin Fen realized that his opponent was not as simple as an ordinary middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator. His strength was almost on par with a late-stage Nihility God Realm expert. Soon, Qin Fen understood. Since Lin Shi was one of the top 10 young masters of the South Flat Continent, his strength was naturally at the top among his peers. How could he compare him to an ordinary middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator? After understanding this, Qin Fen didn't dare to hold back. He had originally planned to use Lin Shi to practice, and maybe he could gain some new insights in the fierce battle. But now, he no longer had any thoughts of holding back. Facing such a powerful expert, he might lose his life if he relaxed even a little. Seeing Qin Fen fall to the ground again, Lin Shi completely disregarded him. He couldn't even understand where such a weak true spirit cultivator got the courage to snatch the spirit herb he wanted. But before his smile could fully bloom, it suddenly froze on his face. A black light suddenly appeared, as if it had instantly swallowed up all the light in the surroundings. Within that black light, a strange energy fluctuation rippled. The speed at which this black light spread was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had already spread to a radius of 10 miles. Qin Fen stood in the center of the black light, holding a dazzling long saber. When the confinement attack landed, the air within a radius of 10 miles froze. The boundary appeared again, and Qin Fen had a basic understanding of the existence of the boundary. When the black light filled the air, he felt that he was the ruler of this world. Anyone who entered the boundary was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Lin Shi's white robe was a stark contrast against the black light. The smile on his face was gone, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Even though he was a disciple of a 7-star sect, Gu Xiaoyao, he was unable to accept the fact that Qin Feng, who was only at level 4 of the true spirit realm, had created a realm. Realm was something that only hollow spirit state cultivators could comprehend. Moreover, only hollow spirit state cultivators with outstanding perception could touch the threshold of realm. Even Lin Shi, one of the 10 great young masters of the South Flat Continent, only managed to grasp a fragment of realm when he stepped into the middle hollow spirit state. Even Lin Shi was unable to use his realm, or it could be said that the power of his realm was too weak. Even a late-stage true spirit cultivator wouldn't be able to control it. Looking at the endless black light in front of him, it could be seen that Qin Fen's realm had already reached the initial stage. You've actually achieved the initial stage? How did you do it? Which sect are you a disciple of? Are you from a 9-star sect in the East Field continent? Lin Shi forgot that he was in danger, and asked a series of questions. Qin Fen didn't have the time to answer him. Taking advantage of this gap, he threw out 4 soul banners. The soul banners shot into the void and immediately enlarged. Finally, they pierced into the ground like 4 heavenly walls. I'm just an itinerant cultivator from the North Sand continent, but it's enough to kill you. Qin Fen purposely revealed his identity to anger Lin Shi. He knew that Lin Shi would definitely die. Or rather, if he didn't kill Lin Shi today, Qin Fen wouldn't be able to stay in the South Flat Continent anymore. Gu Xiaoyao was one of the few 7-star sects in the South Flat Continent. If they wanted to kill him, there would probably be no place for him in the South Flat Continent anymore. When the formation of the Ghost-Face Soul Banners was formed, Lin Shi suddenly woke up. His expression was so cold that water was about to drip out. His eyes were spewing fire, and the scimitar in his hand continuously slashed out, trying to break the Ghost-Face Soul Banners. That scimitar was clearly a high-grade true weapon. However, Qin Fen didn't pay attention to the scimitar. He noticed the ferocity of Lin Shi's saber technique. Every slash of his saber would produce a crescent saber chi that seemed to have a substance. However, the saber chi would automatically split in the air. By the time the attack landed, it had already split into hundreds of violent saber chi. Qin Fen even thought that if he didn't use the Ghost-Face Soul Banners to trap Lin Shi, would he be able to block such a ferocious and exquisite saber technique? After thinking about it, Qin Fen shook his head firmly. Perhaps he could find the weakness of this splitting saber chi if he had more time. However, he definitely couldn't come up with any countermeasures in such a short period of time. The saber chi surged and collided with the 4 soul banners. Back then, the North sect leader by Xiaofeng had been trapped by the soul banners. However, when he attacked the soul banners, there was basically no movement. Now that Lin Shi's attacks were so ferocious, it could be seen that his strength far surpassed by Xiaofeng and the others. In fact, after a few waves of attacks, the 4 soul banners were showing obvious cracks. The restraints have failed? Qin Fen suddenly came to a realization. Even when he used the restraints to trap by Xiaofeng and the others, they could open their eyes and speak, but they still couldn't move their bodies. However, this time, the restraints had succeeded, but they didn't trap Lin Shi. Master, the power of the restraints changes according to Master's strength. After all, Master is only at True Spirit Realm 4 right now, but you're dealing with a late Hollow God Realm expert, so the effects of the restraints aren't obvious, Little Pig said. Qin Fen's expression changed drastically. He understood that it wasn't that the restraints had failed. In fact, the effects of the restraints still existed. The powerful strength that Lin Shi displayed now was the power of the restraints. Qin Fen didn't dare to imagine how powerful Lin Shi would be without the restraints of the restraints. Stinking brat, hurry up and let me out. We can write off our grudges. Otherwise, even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. After a few rounds of attacks, the 4 soul banners were obviously damaged. However, Lin Shi's situation wasn't good either. He forcefully endured the restraints of the restraints to launch fierce attacks, causing a large amount of true essence to be consumed. How could Qin Fen let Lin Shi go? This guy was clearly the kind of person who would burn bridges after crossing the river. Even if Lin Shi was telling the truth, Qin Fen had to kill him. Otherwise, Qin Fen wouldn't be able to stay in the South Flat Continent. There was no verbal reply, but a loud explosion sounded in the camp. Qin Fen held a dazzling long spear in his hand. However, in Lin Shi's eyes, it was an extremely strange weapon. It was this strange weapon that shot out lightning arcs incomparably ferocious. In fact, it wasn't any weaker than the lightning released by the Class 7 Thunder Leopard. Crackle! The 100-mile light sniper seemed to hide endless lightning arcs. Instantly, dozens of lightning arcs descended. Before Lin Shi could react, a series of explosions sounded on his body. His white robes were torn to shreds. His elegant long hair draped over his shoulders. His skin was lacerated with countless wounds, and the scene of him dripping with blood made one's heart tremble. This was definitely the first time in Lin Shi's memory that he was beaten to such a sorry state. In the past, even some seniors with slightly higher cultivation levels would have to speak politely to him when they saw him. However, even though his lungs were about to explode, Lin Shi had no other choice. He was trapped by the restraints and the Ghost-Face Soul Banner at the same time. Furthermore, there was also the surging and violent lightning arcs. If it was an ordinary Void God Realm intermediate stage cultivator, he would have long been blasted to death. Ayaya! How dare you offend the dignity of young Master Shi? Today, you will die without a doubt. Lin Shi roared angrily and waved his hand, releasing a green light. After the light appeared, it quickly expanded into a barrier. The dozen or so lightning arcs exploded on the green barrier and disappeared along with it. Qin Fen was shocked. He saw that Lin Shi was holding a green leaf in his hand. The green leaf looked like a banana leaf, and Lin Shi had used it to create the green barrier. Qin Fen quickly discovered that it was not an ordinary green leaf. It was actually a leaf from a rank 9 spirit herb, the 9-leaf banana. This spirit herb was very rare and could be used as the main ingredient for many rank 9 rank 7 king pills. He had never expected that someone would use it to refine a powerful magic weapon. However, Qin Fen did not pay too much attention to the banana leaf. He knew that the leaf's endurance was limited, and he did not lack thunder and lightning at the moment. The 2 energy tanks had stored a large amount of thunder sources. The 100-mile light sniper kept firing, and for a moment, the lightning arcs were like a sea. It was even more spectacular than the scene of a Void God Realm cultivator breaking through the thunder tribulation. When Yuanqiu, who was sitting on the grass a kilometer away, saw the sea of thunder in the sky, her eyes rolled to the ground. She knew that this was Qin Fen's attack, but she found it hard to accept. Under the violent and uninterrupted thunder strikes, even a magic weapon refined from a rank 9 spirit herb would explode. When the banana leaf exploded, Lin Shi's body also exploded into ashes. Qin Fen immediately put away the ghost face soul banner. There were many cracks on the soul banner, so he placed it in the system's 10,000 treasure pavilion to be nurtured. The effects of the confinement strike had disappeared, and the black light and energy fluctuations within a 5-kilometer radius instantly disappeared. However, the thunder was still exploding in the open space. Qin Fen did not even take Lin Shi's storage ring or the fragment of the banana leaf. He immediately left with Yuanqiu. After the 2 of them left for less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn, 5 figures landed. They looked at the place where the thunder had exploded and frowned. "Something seems to have happened to Lin Shi's disciple," a gray-haired old man said. His aura was as calm as the sea. Even if Qin Fen was here, he would definitely not be able to see through his realm. "Which bastard dared to kill my beloved disciple? If I catch him, I will burn his soul with heavenly fire." An old man in a black robe was furious. The surging aura on his body scared the rank 7 Thunder Leopard, who was trapped to the side. It turned out that these 5 people were Gu Xiaoyao's people. The 2 who spoke were Gu Xiaoyao's elders, while the other 3 were disciples of the same group. Including Lin Shi, Gu Xiaoyao's group of 6 had originally gone on this expedition. However, Lin Shi had been separated on the way. When they found him, they sensed that Lin Shi's real body had exploded, and his 4 clones had also been destroyed. Chapter 1933. Along the way, Qin Feng found out that the South Flat Continent's Genius Assembly was held in Sky Connection City every 5 years. It was the largest public city in South Flat Continent, and was not controlled by any sect. The city lord's identity was mysterious, and it was said that not many people had seen his face. In Sky Connection City, even disciples of 7-star sects did not dare to cause trouble. "That's right, young hero Qiao, which sect are you from?" Zhao Chongqing had long been curious about Qin Feng's identity. He did not ask much when they first met, but after getting to know each other he asked, "Brother Chongqing, if I say I'm not from any sect and am just a loose cultivator, you probably won't believe me, right?" Qin Feng laughed at himself. He was indeed a loose cultivator in South Flat Continent, but no one would believe him. Zhao Chongqing did not believe him, but he did not ask further. He thought that Qin Feng did not want to say more. In South Flat Continent, disciples of large sects would hide their identities when they came out to train. This was the sect's rule. "Young hero Qiao, it's normal that you don't want to say. I don't mean anything else. I'm just shocked that you have such cultivation and strength at such a young age." Zhao Chongqing smiled. Qin Feng nodded. He understood Zhao Chongqing's thoughts because too many people had said the same thing to him. 3 days later, the group arrived outside a city. From a few hundred meters away, Qin Feng was stunned by the city's grand construction. He was not only shocked by the city's scale and prosperity, but also by the style of the buildings. The buildings here were not ancient, but had the feel of a Chinese city. Ha ha! Young hero Qiao, are you surprised by the style of the buildings here? Actually, I found it strange the first time I came to Sky Connection City. These buildings are completely different from the other buildings in South Flat Continent. Zhao Chongqing smiled. However, Qin Feng couldn't bring himself to laugh. A sense of danger arose in his heart. There was actually a Chinese architectural style here. Didn't that mean that people from China had come? The Chinese people Qin Feng referred to were not like Qin Duoer, the people from the outer martial arts world, and the inner hidden sects, nor were they from China. Since the entire Sky Connection city was built in the Chinese style, it meant that the city lord had a powerful identity. How could he be someone ordinary? Even though Qin Feng had been in the South Flat Continent for almost a year, he had only built a preliminary hero city. The location of the city was occupied by the 4-star sect, the Beijing sect. Young hero Qiao, are you alright? Zhao Chongqing noticed that something was wrong with Qin Feng. Oh! Don't worry, the buildings here are really strange. I'm entranced by them. Qin Feng woke up with a start. Zhao Chongqing laughed and said, Ha ha! The first time I came to Sky Connection City, my reaction was the same as young hero Qiao's. Later on I got used to it. But you don't say, some of the houses here are built very high, it feels like they're going to reach the sky, and this is where the name Sky Connection City comes from. Qin Feng glanced at the towering buildings. Weren't they China's skyscrapers? He was even more certain that this was a cultivator who had transmigrated to South Pingzhou from China. As for his identity, Qin Feng couldn't guess. The few of them walked into Sky Connection City. There weren't even any guards at the city gates. However, the moment Qin Feng stepped into the city, he felt a few powerful divine senses sweep over him, checking him from head to toe. He could only tell that one of the divine senses had stepped into the body condensation stage. There were also a few more powerful divine senses that he couldn't tell their cultivation. Young hero Qiao, don't be nervous. This is a routine inspection of Sky Connection City. It's not just for you. As long as a cultivator enters the city, they will be scanned. Considering that it was Qin Feng's first time in Sky Connection City, Zhao Chongqing immediately lowered his voice and explained. Qin Feng let out a sigh of relief. He thought that those almighty beings had discovered some secret and were paying attention to him. However, he quickly became nervous. Sky Connection City was filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. If the system's secret was seen through, it would be big trouble. Despite his worries, Qin Feng still followed Zhao Chongqing and the others into the city. Right now, the only way to find Qin Duo was to participate in the Genius Assembly and become famous. He had no other choice. The city was bustling with many cultivators. The construction of the streets was very similar to that of China. It exuded the aura of a modern metropolis. It was very different from the ancient style of the other parts of the Nanping state. Both sides of the street were filled with shops. There were many Hollow God Realm cultivators among the pedestrians. Even body condensation stage cultivators were more common. From time to time, a few cauldron-filling state cultivators could be seen floating by. Qin Feng had mixed feelings about such a developed and modern city. In fact, he had always wanted to build a truly powerful and heroic city on the Divine Continent, and the Heaven Connect city in front of him was about to meet his expectations. Young hero Qiao, Sky Connection City is one of the busiest cities and markets in the Nanping state. There are many shops selling everything. Do you want to take a look? Zhao Chongqing asked. Qin Feng didn't have a good feeling about this place. He only wanted to participate in the Genius Assembly and leave immediately. Let's find a place to stay first. That's right. The Genius Assembly will be held in 3 days. Right now, Sky Connection City is overcrowded. If I don't book a room in advance, I'm afraid I'll have to sleep in the open space outside the city. Truth be told, for cultivators, a place to sleep was no longer an important issue. Even Qin Fen would often sit in the same spot and cultivate for several months at a time. However, it would be best if he could find a room. On the Divine Continent, the rooms in the inns all had spirit-gathering formations. The busiest street of Sky Connection City was in the center, but Zhao Chongqing didn't plan to go there. It was obvious that the inns nearby were full. It was already good enough to find a room in the outskirts of the city. After walking for half a day, the group finally found a small inn in a desolate alley. Even this inn only had one room left. Young hero Qiao, you can stay in that room. We still have to meet up with the other disciples in the sect. When I'm done, I'll call senior brother Zhao Ziyu to come see you. Zhao Chongqing said. Seeing that there were 5 people, Qin Feng didn't stand on ceremony. He cupped his hands and said, All right, brother Chongqing and the others can go do what you need to do. The group bid farewell and Qin Feng walked to the waiter. The waiter recognized Zhao Chongqing and the others' clothing. They were disciples of the 6-star sect, 100 Thoughts sect, so he was very respectful to Qin Feng. Young hero, the last room. Shall I take you to have a look? The waiter smiled. There's no need to look at the room. Just help me book it. Qin Feng said. All right. How many nights do you plan to stay? 100,000 spirit stones per night. Qin Fen could be considered as a nouveau riche cultivator among his peers, but he was still shocked by the price of 10,000 spirit stones. It wasn't that he hadn't stayed in other inns before, but even the most expensive suite only cost 10,000 spirit stones per night, let alone a single room. Young hero, if you think there's a problem with the price, you can go to other inns and ask. The Genius Assembly is going to be held soon, so almost all the inns in Sky Connection City are full. For example, the area in the center of the city costs at least 1 million spirit stones per night. The waiter seemed to see through Qin Feng's doubts and hurriedly explained with a smile. Qin Feng realized that he had misunderstood. He thought that the waiter was trying to cheat him. But before he could take out the spirit stones, a sneer came from outside the door. Humph! You can't even afford 100,000 spirit stones, so why are you staying in an inn? You can just go to the wilderness outside the city for a few nights. Qin Feng turned around and didn't recognize the newcomer. However, he recognized the other party's clothing. It was the clothing of Yuan Qiu's 5-star sect, the Sky Lake sect. A group of 5 people came. The white-robed man walking in front had the highest cultivation, and he was at Void Spirit Realm Level 1. The 4 cultivators behind him seemed to be the Void Spirit Realm man's junior brothers, and they were all at the late True Spirit Realm. This kind of strength would be shocking in the Northern Sand Continent, but it was only average in the Southern Flat Continent. What are you looking at? You don't recognize me? Then listen carefully. I am the little elder of the 5-star sect Sky Lake sect Yun Yen. If you know what's good for you, then scram. I want that guest room. Yun Yen had a domineering aura, and when he spoke, his body erupted with powerful true essence, pressuring the waiter so much that he almost fainted. However, Qin Feng's expression did not change, and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Because of Yu Zhong, he had a bad impression of the Sky Lake sect. What if I don't? Qin Feng's voice was cold. Yun Yen was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Qin Feng to say that. The genius meet was about to be held, and Yun Yen was not a fool. He knew that heroes from various sects had come to Tiantong City, so he had to keep a low profile. Otherwise, he would easily be beaten back to his original state. The reason why he was so arrogant was because he had already seen through Qin Feng's cultivation. He was merely a level 7 true spirit cultivator, so he could suppress him. What did you say, kid? Believe it or not, Elder Yun Yen can kill you with one palm. You're just an ant at level 7 true spirit. There's no need for Elder Yun Yen to make a move. I can destroy you. The 4 disciples standing behind Yun Yen jumped up. None of them cared about Qin Feng. The waiter stood at the side with a troubled expression. He really wanted to say that Qin Feng had come with the young elder of the 6-star sect, the 100 Intentions sect, but now that the people from the 100 Intentions sect had left, there was no point in saying that. Qin Feng did not care about Yun Yan and the others at all. He was about to kill the 5 of them to help Yuan Qiu vent her anger when he suddenly thought of something and hurriedly retracted his aura. "Kid, why aren't you moving? Don't tell me you're afraid?" Yun Yan sneered. Qin Feng felt a lingering fear as he thought about how sinister Yun Yan was. Just as he was about to make a move, he suddenly recalled Zhao Changqing's instructions. All fighting was prohibited in Tiantong City. Otherwise, no matter who you were, you would be severely punished. Just a few seconds ago, Qin Feng felt a few powerful divine senses sweep over. These divine senses were different from the ones he had sensed when he first entered Tiantong City, but they were all powerful beings whose cultivation he could not see through. The strength of Tiantong City was beyond Qin Feng's expectations. He became more and more curious about the identity of this city's city lord. Such a powerful city was probably even more powerful than the few 7-star sects in the South Flat Continent. Chapter 1934. I'm just in the 7 true spirit realm, how could I be your match? Why aren't you attacking? Qin Feng calmed down. A cold glint flashed in Yun Yan's eyes. He realized that Qin Feng hadn't taken the bait. Humph! This old man is the little elder of the Sky Lake sect. Wouldn't it be a disgrace for me to lay my hands on a junior like you? Then let the 4 disciples behind you attack. I promise I won't fight back, Qin Feng said with a smirk. They rolled their eyes in anger. This was Tiantong City. Who would dare to cause trouble here? Realizing that Qin Feng was not a rookie who had come to Tiantong City for the first time, Yun Yan dispelled the thought of provoking him. He said coldly, "Although Tiantong City doesn't allow fighting, we're all from the South Flat Continent. I've already remembered your appearance. If you don't leave the room today, the Tianhu sect won't let you off in the future." Qin Feng didn't know how many people had threatened him, but this kind of threat seemed weak and powerless to him. If there's nothing else, then scram. It was in Tiantong City that you guys managed to keep your lives, Qin Feng said indifferently. Yun Yan's group was so angry that their lungs were about to explode. A true Spirit Realm 7 ant was using Tiantong City's rules to bully others. No matter how they looked at it, they deserved a beating. However, the 5 of them did not dare to make a move. When Yun Yan saw that he could not get the room, he did not want to stay and embarrass himself. He glared fiercely at Qin Feng before waving his sleeves and leaving. "Bring me to my room, I want to stay here for 5 days. Qin Feng did not even look at Yun Yan and company. He threw the storage ring containing 500,000 spirit stones on the table. The waiter jolted awake. After confirming that there were no mistakes, he led Qin Feng upstairs. The inns in Tiantong City were built similar to the Huaxia Hotel. Qin Feng stayed in a standard single room with a wooden table and a wooden chair. There was also a sofa under the windowsill and a quilt on the bed in the corner of the room. It was completely different from the bluestone beds in the Divine Continent. Qin Feng subconsciously went to the washroom. He didn't see a toilet, but there was a porcelain bathtub. Who exactly is the city lord of Tiantong City? To be able to build a metropolis in a place like the South Ping State where cultivation flourishes? Qin Feng muttered to himself. He couldn't figure it out no matter how much he racked his brains. After throwing away these chaotic thoughts, he sat on the bed and began to cultivate. There were still 3 days until the genius competition, and he wanted to break through to the 8th true spirit realm. But at noon on the 2nd day of seclusion, Zhao Changqing brought Zhao Ziyu and the others to visit. When Zhao Ziyu saw that Qin Feng was alive, she was overjoyed. She immediately took out a level 7 spirit herb, 100 Immortals flower, and gave it to Qin Feng. "Young hero Qiao, it's great that you're alright. We agreed that I'll return this spirit herb to you the next time we meet." A level 7 spiritual herb was incomparably precious in the South Flat Continent. When Zhao Ziyu took it out, the disciples were dumbfounded. This 100 Immortals flower leaf was no longer very useful to Qin Feng, but Zhao Ziyu took it out as soon as they met. This was enough to show this little old man's character. As a 6-star sect, the 100 Intentions sect attached great importance to this year's competition of geniuses. However, the great elder of the 100 Intentions sect, and the others were staying in an inn in the center of the city. It could be seen that the inn in the center of the city not only required expensive spirit stones, but also a high status. Zhao Ziyu and the others stayed in Qin Feng's room. For cultivators, as long as there was an empty space, they could cultivate or rest. Because of the arrival of the 100 Intentions sect, Qin Feng couldn't enter the astral space to cultivate. Moreover, he didn't dare to enter the astral space. However, after staying in the astral space for a day, when he came out, he discovered that a dozen or so powerful divine senses were alternately sweeping through the area he was in. The density and frequency were several times higher than before. He suspected that these experts might have discovered that he had suddenly disappeared. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. It was time for the competition of geniuses. Qin Feng followed Zhao Ziyu and the others to a large plaza in the center of Tiantong City. Although this plaza wasn't as vast and boundless as the one in Panshan City, it was still a relatively large area. Moreover, the construction of the area was very high class, and it exuded the feeling of a modern city. There was already a large group of cultivators gathered outside the plaza. Although many cultivators intentionally suppressed their auras, the majestic auras surging outside the plaza were earth-shattering. Some low-level cultivators found it hard to breathe just by standing in the crowd. Qin Feng didn't feel much. Although he was currently at True Spirit Realm 7, his dense true essence was something that even Nihility God Realm cultivators couldn't achieve. Groups continuously rushed over. By noon, there were already hundreds of thousands of people gathered outside the plaza. The spectacular scene was comparable to when Qin Feng had participated in the 13 Palaces expedition. Qin Feng had participated in the North Sand Continent's Genius competition and obtained the title of number 1 genius. However, after participating in the South Flat Continent's Genius competition, he realized that the cultivation standards of the two continents were on a completely different level. There were many sects in the South Flat Continent. There were as many 3- and 4-star sects as there were hairs on a cow. Even 5-star sects were relatively common. In the North Sand Continent, 5-star sects could be counted on one's fingers. They were already at the top of the list. Most of the sects around him were unfamiliar to Qin Feng. However, he also saw a few familiar sections. Yuan Sung sect, which had killed a few elders in the 13 Palaces expedition, Yun Yan and the others from Sky Lake sect who had fought over a room with him 3 days ago, 6-star refining sect Xingkuan sect, 6-star formation sect Wan Chi Feng from 10,000 formation sect, Qilin Mountain, Gu Xiaoyao. Qin Feng also saw ancient cauldron sects Hong Fei. When he saw this person, he became nervous. Actually, with his current strength, he didn't even need to worry about the entire ancient cauldron sect, much less the Nihility God Realm Level 2 Hong Fei. However, Hong Fei knew that he had obtained the spirit turtle shell from the coiling dragon mountain cave. If he leaked this news to Xingkuan sect, he would be in big trouble. Qin Feng immediately planned to change back to his original appearance. However, he eventually gave up on this idea. Right now, he was surrounded by cultivators. Among them, there was no lack of peak Nihility God Realm and Body Condensation Realm experts. There were even a few cauldron-filling state experts. If he changed his appearance in front of these people, he would only be noticed faster. However, the main reason why he decided to participate in the Genius Assembly as Xiao Feng was because he knew that fighting was not allowed in Sky Connection City. Even if Hong Fei, the Xingkuan sect, or even Gu Xiaoyao recognized him, he would at least be safe in Sky Connection City. After this genius competition, Qin Feng knew that he would definitely become famous. At that time, he would change to Qin Feng's identity and escape from everyone's sight. After all the pros and cons flashed through his mind, Qin Feng calmed down. Right now, he had no way out. He had to first become famous in the genius competition, then find Qin Duo Air and take her away. At noon, a shadow appeared in the sky above the square. As for when he appeared, not many of the 100,000 cultivators outside the square knew. No one knew the identity of the person. They only felt that his aura was vague. One moment it was majestic and ferocious, the next moment it was calm. Which expert is this? South Pingzhou is indeed a crouching tiger and hidden dragon. Many cultivators discussed. It should be a senior from Sky Connection City. It's said that the city lord of Sky Connection City disappeared after building the city. He left a few capable disciples to guard the city. In the past 100 years, Sky Connection City has been safe and sound. Even the 7-star sects don't dare to behave atrociously here. I'm already body condensation realm late stage, but I can't see through this senior's cultivation. He's at least cauldron filling state. Qin Feng was also shocked by the person's powerful cultivation. However, he was even more surprised that this person might have a system. The moment this person appeared, a system notification sounded in Qin Feng's mind. System crisis notification. An owner of a variant system has appeared within 10 miles. Ever since he came to the Divine Mainland, Qin Feng hadn't met another owner of a system. When he defeated Ling Jiutian in the Divine Mainland, he thought that the system would disappear. It seemed that Ling Jiutian wasn't the one who created the system. According to the system owners that Qin Feng had met, there seemed to be two types of systems. One was the sovereign system, such as his hedonist sovereign system, Shui Er's sovereign superstar system, Hua Xiao's sovereign mecha system, Lei Wanzhong's sovereign modification system, and the sovereign peace system that he had gifted to the dragon god. The other type was the sovereign system. So far, Qin Feng had only met Ling Jiutian's sovereign hero system. Now that the hedonist sovereign system notified him that a variant system had appeared, it was obvious that the other party's system wasn't the hedonist sovereign system. It was likely to be the sovereign system, or it could be a system that Qin Feng didn't know about. Regardless, Qin Feng knew that the other party's system level wouldn't be lower than his. Otherwise, the hedonist sovereign system wouldn't have given him an emergency notification. After thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind, Qin Feng immediately deactivated the hedonist sovereign system. Then, he felt the cultivator floating in the air sweep over him with a powerful divine sense, causing Qin Feng to break out in a cold sweat. Regardless of whether the other party's system was as powerful as Qin Feng's, the other party's realm was clearly much higher than his. Qin Feng thought that if the hedonist sovereign system was discovered, he would be captured in the next second without any chance to resist. Fortunately, after a few seconds he didn't see any movement from the elder floating in the air. His divine sense swept over the area where Qin Feng was standing before finally retracting it. Everyone, today's genius competition officially begins. I will be the witness of the competition. Just like the previous genius competitions, the life and death of the participating cultivators will be determined by the heavens. No one is allowed to take revenge or kill within Tiantong City. Even if there are any grudges, they can wait until you leave Tiantong City. The age limit for participating cultivators is 50 years old or younger. Sects can send at most 3 disciples to participate. Rogue cultivators must be at the true spirit realm to be eligible to participate. Registration begins now, and will end in an hour. As the elder finished speaking, the illusory figure dissipated in the air. That powerful aura also dissipated, as if he had never appeared. The plaza was in an uproar. All the large sects went to the registration stone to register. It turned out that the several hundred huge stones around the plaza were all registration stones. As long as the participating cultivator's name and sect were engraved on the stone, it would be considered a success. Looking at the dense mass of people in the plaza, Qin Feng wondered how long he would have to wait to register. Even if he had more than 300 registration stones, it wouldn't be enough. But he quickly realized that he was wrong. The registration speed was extremely fast. Before the time it took for an incense stick to burn, it was already his turn to engrave his name on the registration stone. Chapter 1935. Soon, Qin Feng figured out the reason. Even though there were many cultivators on the plaza, how many of them were at the true spirit realm? Sects were only allowed to send 3 disciples to participate, so most of the cultivators gathered outside were here to watch the show. However, after the registration ended, the number of participants surprised Qin Feng. There were actually more than 10,000 participants. Moreover, the South Flat States selection system was similar to the North Sand States. Only the top 100 would be counted, and only the top 10 would be considered famous in the South Flat State. 10 geniuses out of 10,000 people, this was 1 in 1,000. Qin Fen began to consider another matter. With over 10,000 cultivators participating in the competition, how long would it take for them to determine the top 10? Ever since the system's warning appeared, he didn't want to stay in Tiantong City for a moment longer. If it wasn't for taking his sister away, he would have left long ago. At this moment, the figure in the air appeared again. The registration has ended. We will now proceed to the first segment of the Genius Competition, Maze Valley Survival. As soon as he finished speaking, the elder in the sky waved his sleeve. Instantly, a giant array door appeared in the empty square. When the array door appeared, everyone began to discuss it. Some cultivators looked excited, as if they knew what this array door meant. Everyone quiet down, I will first introduce the rules of the Maze Valley Survival. Because there are too many cultivators participating in the Genius Competition, it takes a lot of time and effort to compete. Therefore, before the actual competition, there will be a Maze Valley Survival test. The Maze Valley Survival is a secret space. There is no danger inside, and those who enter can come out on their own. Every time the secret space opens, it can last for an hour. Those who can last until the secret space closes will advance to the next round, and the rest will be eliminated. This was Qin Feng's first time participating in the South Flat States Genius Competition, so he didn't know these rules. He was just worrying about how long the competition would last, and didn't expect a Maze Valley survival test to appear. Senior Zhao, is the elimination rate of the Maze Valley survival test high? Qin Feng immediately asked Zhao Ziyu. Zhao Ziyu frowned and said, very high. Based on past genius meetings, the survival rate of the Maze Valley is only 1 in 300. 1 out of 300? Qin Feng quickly calculated. This way, after the first round of the Maze Valley survival test, there would only be 300 cultivators left to compete. He was pleasantly surprised. This kind of competition speed was exactly what he wanted. Zhao Ziyu didn't know what Qin Feng was thinking. She said worriedly, Young hero Qiao, the survival of the Maze Valley is actually very disadvantageous to independent cultivators. After you go in, go with Zhao Hongxia's 3 disciples. You can take care of each other. Confused, Qin Feng asked, why is it disadvantageous to independent cultivators? This time, Zhao Changqing explained. Young hero Qiao, this is your first time participating in the Genius Competition, so you might not know this. The secret territory of the Maze Valley is an empty battlefield. There is no danger in the Maze Valley itself, but the cultivators who enter will kill each other. Sects can only send 3 disciples to participate in the competition, and rogue cultivators can enter alone. Qin Fen immediately understood that this was a 3 against 1 situation. It seemed that if a rogue cultivator wanted to achieve good results in the South Flat Continent's Genius Conference, he would need to be more talented and powerful than a sex cultivator. Just as Zhao Changqing was warning Qin Fen about the things to pay attention to in the maze, a divine sense swept over him from the side of the square. Sect Master, that brat really came to participate in the Genius Competition. Hong Fei revealed an excited expression. The 2 people standing beside him immediately used their divine senses to scan Qin Fen. When they saw that Qin Fen was only at the true spirit realm, contempt flashed through their eyes. Hong Fei, this is your chance to make up for your mistakes. Go find that brat in the Maze Valley and take all his treasures. The sect master of the ancient cauldron sect, Hong Pingyan, said indifferently. Hong Fei felt helpless. Originally, only he knew about the secret of the spirit turtle shell. Now that the sect master knew about it too, he even treated him as a sinner. Don't worry, sect master. I was tricked by that brat on Coiled Dragon Mountain last time. Otherwise, how would he be my opponent with his cultivation? The ancient cauldron sect was not the only sect master who had their eyes on Qin Fen. There were many divine senses in the crowd that swept over Qin Fen as well. When the Tianhu sect's Yunyan discovered Qin Fen, he sneered. 3 days ago, he failed to snatch Qinfan's room. Today, he was determined to teach this ant a lesson. Yi Bing of the Qilin Mountain was also laughing. He was 49 years old this year, just enough to qualify for the genius competition. Originally, he wanted to place in the top 100 and then try to enter the top 10. Now, it seemed like he had another mission to kill. When these people's divine senses swept over, Qinfen sensed it long ago. However, he did not care about it at all. He did not even bother to trace the origin of the divine senses. This was because these people's cultivation was too low, and Qinfen only cared about the divine senses of those at the peak of the void god realm and above. Many cultivators had already leapt into the formation gate leading to the Maze Valley. Under Zhao Ziyu and Zhao Chongqing's strong suggestion, Qinfen followed the 3 participating disciples of the Hundred Thoughts sect. Actually, he planned to enter alone because he knew that many hidden enemies would come looking for him. If he really met them, he would implicate Zhao Hongxia and the other 2. When his body touched the arrayed door, Qinfen felt a sharp pain in his mind. This reaction surprised him. After absorbing more than 2,000 soul crystals, his sea of consciousness had improved twice. Now, the strength of his soul was comparable to the late stage, or even the peak of the empty god realm. In the past, unless the distance was very far, Qinfen's sea of consciousness would feel a sharp pain. It could be seen that the Maze Valley's secret realm was very far from Tiantong City. After an unknown amount of time, Qinfen felt his feet touch the ground. Just as he landed, he heard fighting and cursing. Qinfen did not care about those people and immediately left on his flying sword. He planned to get rid of Zhao Hongxia and the other 2. Before entering, Qinfen had already checked the cultivation of Zhao Hongxia and the other 2. Zhao Hongxia was only 45 years old but had already stepped into the Void God Realm Level 2. The other 2 disciples were also at the peak of the True Spirit Realm. Although this wasn't much in the South Pingzhou state, it was already very impressive for cultivators below 50 years old. Qinfen was not worried that Zhao Hongxia and the other 2 would encounter any trouble. Ordinary cultivators would avoid them if they saw them wearing the uniform of the 6-star sect, 100 Intention sect. After traveling on the flying sword for an unknown period of time, 3 black shadows landed on a mountain peak in front of Qinfen. "Ha ha! Grandson surnamed Xiao, how dare you steal this old man's treasure? Hand it over." The voice was very familiar. Qinfen scanned the mountain peak with his divine sense, and confirmed that it was Hong Fei. There were 2 people standing beside Hong Fei. One was a true Spirit Realm 8, and the other was a true Spirit Realm 9. From the looks of it, these 2 and Hong Fei were the 3 cultivators representing the ancient Cauldron sect in the genius competition. Chapter 1936. Qinfen stopped on the mountain peak. He was not forced to stop by Hong Fei and the other 2, but on purpose. Among all his enemies, the one Qinfen was most wary of was not Gu Xiaoyao of the 7-star sect, nor was it Elder Wan Qifeng of the 6-star sect, but Hong Fei of the 5-star sect, the ancient Cauldron sect. Whether it was Gu Xiaoyao, Wan Qifeng or the Celestial Gourd, some of these enemies did not recognize him, and some only had personal conflicts with him. However, Hong Fei knew that he had obtained the Spirit Tortoise Shell from the Coiling Dragon Mountain Cave, and that the Spirit Tortoise Shell was the key to opening the door of life. The Mountain of Life's secret was too important. Whether it was the 4 Spirit Marrow Ponds and over 1,000 Spirit Crystals, or the Tree of Life, one of the 10 great immortal herbs of the Divine Continent, any news of it would cause a frenzy among the South Pingzhou continent's cultivators. Qinfen was worried about not having a chance to kill Hong Fei, but he did not expect Hong Fei to come knocking on his door. "You old fart, I let you escape from Coiling Dragon Mountain and live to this day. However, after today, there will be no more scum like you in the South Pingzhou continent." Qinfen was filled with anger when he recalled the expedition to Coiling Dragon Mountain. Hong Fei had colluded with his disciple, Pengge, to cheat everyone. If Qinfen was not proficient in array formations, he would have died in the 7 Snakes array. Qin Fen could not help but recall the expedition to Thousand Insect Valley not long ago. That team was the one he was most satisfied with. Everyone advanced and retreated together, and they protected each other through life and death. His words stunned Hong Fei, and even the playful smile on his face froze. That expedition to Coiling Dragon Mountain was an accident. He was defeated because he underestimated his enemy. He thought that Qin Fen would be so scared that he would run for his life or kneel and beg for mercy when he met him again. He did not expect Qin Fen to be so arrogant. Humph! You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. You're just an ant at level 7 true spirit. I don't know where you get the confidence to talk to Elder Hong Fei. The two ancient Cauldron sect disciples were enraged, and they glared at Qin Fen fiercely. Qin Fen did not care. He used his divine senses to scan the surroundings and realized that there was not a single cultivator in the vicinity. Sensing Qin Feng's divine sense, Hong Fei laughed. Ha ha! Don't expect anyone to come and save you. I specifically chose this desolate and uninhabited place to wait for you. Hurry up and hand it over, and I'll give you a quick death. Qin Fen found it funny. He didn't use his divine sense to look for helpers, but to prevent anyone from coming over and ruining his plan to silence them. However, Qin Fen wasn't in a hurry to act. He pretended to ask, "What is it?" Hong Fei stared at him. "Stop pretending. If you didn't find the life mountain of the 13 palaces and obtain the treasures inside, how could you break through to the 7th true spirit realm in such a short period of time?" When the two disciples heard about the mountain of life, their eyes shone with a fiery light. Clearly, they had just found out about Qin Fen. "Oh? What was the mountain of life? What treasures are inside?" Qin Fen continued to play dumb. He wanted to see if Hong Fei knew what was hidden in the gate of life. "You know best what's inside. However, from today onwards, those things belong to me." Hong Fei revealed an extremely evil smile. At that moment, even the two disciples found him to be a little unfamiliar. Qin Fen immediately guessed Hong Fei's intentions. This old fellow wanted to take the treasures in the Gate of Life for himself. It was even possible that he would flee with the ancient Cauldron sect after obtaining the treasures. At the same time, Qin Fen guessed that Hong Fei might have only heard of the Mountain of Life, but he didn't know what was inside. It wasn't just him who didn't know. Probably all the cultivators in the South Flat Continent didn't know. Otherwise, just the Tree of Life, which had one of the 10 great immortal herbs, would be enough for trillions of cultivators in the South Flat Continent to risk their lives to explore it. After thinking this through, Qin Fen heaved a sigh of relief. He wasn't afraid of the news of him obtaining the spirit turtle shell being leaked. He was afraid that someone would know that the Mountain of Life had the Tree of Life and the Spirit Marrow Pool. If that happened, he would become the target of all the cultivators in the South Flat Continent. "You ant, I'll give you another 10 seconds. If you don't hand over the treasures, I'll kill you immediately." Hong Fei was getting impatient. "Noisy!" Qin Fen bellowed and casually stabbed out with his spear. A corporeal spear radiance condensed from quintessential essence appeared in the sky. The ferocious aura was like a landslide, stunning Hong Fei on the spot. With a loud bang, Hong Fei exploded into pieces. His two clones didn't manage to escape the aftermath of the explosion either. Before he died, his old eyes were wide open. He couldn't accept the fact that he had been instantly killed by a true spirit realm cultivator. The two disciples' legs were trembling. They couldn't even muster a trace of quintessential essence. However, Qin Fen didn't kill the two of them. Instead, he revealed a solemn expression and used his divine senses to search the surrounding space. "Little pig, this mystic realm is a little strange," Qin Fen communicated telepathically. When he stabbed out with his spear, he felt like he was being watched. "Master, I don't understand either." "Be careful." Little Pig frowned. Although it looked very serious, it made people want to laugh. However, Qin Fen couldn't laugh. He really felt that he was being watched when he stabbed out with his spear. However, he couldn't find a single shadow after scanning the area with his divine senses. As soon as he came back to his senses, the two disciples of the ancient cauldron sect flew away. Before they could disappear into the distance, a giant hand of quintessential essence fell and crushed them into pieces. Qin Feng frowned again. He felt like he was being watched again. The feeling was very strong, but he couldn't find the person hiding in the dark. After searching with his divine senses a few times, he still couldn't find anything. However, there were a few groups of cultivators flying over from afar. They were chasing an early-stage true spirit realm cultivator. Qin Feng recognized the cultivator being chased. He was Cui Qing, the one who sold him the Immortal Blossom Stone at the Panshan Market Square's goods exchange. The Immortal Blossom Stone was an ordinary stone flower found in the immortal world. In the Divine Supreme Mainland, it was a rare immortal stone. Qin Feng was very grateful to Cui Qing. However, after buying the Immortal Flower Stone, he was afraid of attracting the attention of other cultivators, so he left immediately. Now that Cui Qing was in trouble, he couldn't just stand by and watch. Eh? It's you, Senior! Cui Qing was delighted when he saw Qin Feng flying over. However, he immediately panicked and said, Senior, leave quickly. Those are cultivators from the sections. They won't let us go. Seeing that Qin Feng was alone, Cui Qing naturally thought that he was also a rogue cultivator. Qin Feng already understood. Just as Zhao Changqing had said, this maze mystic realm was very disadvantageous to rogue cultivators. However, before Qin Feng could leave, a laugh was heard. Haha, another rogue cultivator. These two pieces of trash can be eliminated. Because of Qin Feng's appearance, Cui Qing slowed down his flying sword. It was also this gap that allowed the cultivators behind him to catch up. Cui Qing realized that he could no longer escape, so he simply landed on a mountain peak. He didn't have any intention of blaming Qin Feng. He cupped his fists and said, Senior, we are no match for those sect disciples. Why don't we withdraw together? Before opening the maze mystic realm, the floating old man had said that they could enter and leave the secret realm at will. However, as long as they left the secret realm, they would be eliminated and would not be able to enter the competition. Of course, Qin Feng wouldn't withdraw. He was aiming for one of the South Plains State's top 10 geniuses. After looking at Cui Qing's cultivation, Qin Feng said, You're only in the true spirit realm. If you leave now and find a place without anyone to hide, you might be able to last until the secret realm closes. Cui Qing looked at him in confusion and said, Senior, you're not planning on withdrawing? There's no need to withdraw. I don't care about those ants. Qin Feng's voice was indifferent. Cui Qing looked at the dozens of people on the opposite mountain peak. These people were formed by disciples from over a dozen sections. The weakest among them was a 4-star sect, and the weakest was in the middle stage of the true spirit realm. Senior, you want to fight with them? Cui Qing rolled his eyes. Qin Feng's voice was firm. You don't need to worry about me. Quickly leave this place and find a place without anyone to hide. Before Cui Qing could leave, someone on the opposite mountain shouted, You two ants, why aren't you withdrawing? Otherwise, you'll die when we attack. The man speaking was at the Hollow God Realm Level 1 and was wearing the Wind Movement Sect's clothes. He was the Wind Movement Sect's most talented eldest disciple, Ku Xing. He had reached the Hollow God Realm before 50 years old. Even for the South Plain State's 5-star sects, it was rare for disciples to reach the Hollow God Realm before 50 years old. So, Ku Xing had high hopes for the sect this time. The sect had given him the goal of entering the top 50 of the genius competition. Seeing a Hollow God Realm expert jump out, Cui Qing was so scared that he didn't know how to speak. However, he didn't run, which made Qin Feng feel warmth in his heart. I've killed many people from the Wind Movement sect, including 2 little elders. It looks like you'll be the next one. Qin Feng's voice was indifferent, but it contained a powerful aura that reverberated through the mountains. The cultivators on the opposite mountain were stunned. They never thought that a true Spirit Realm 7 rogue cultivator would dare say this kind of crazy words. Ku Xing's expression changed and he said with a savage expression, You killed Ku Zhu and Elder Ku Hai. Qin Feng didn't deny it. The anger on Ku Xing's face suddenly turned into shock. Those two little elders had reached the hollow god realm. Had they really been killed by this kid? Humph! You dare to be disrespectful to the Wind Movement sect? Let me teach you a lesson. Ku Xing quickly calmed down. He didn't believe that a true Spirit Realm 7 cultivator could kill a hollow god realm expert. He turned into a sword shadow and charged towards the opposite mountain. While he was flying, his body exploded with true essence. The aura swept through the sky, giving the true Spirit Realm cultivators a strong impact. Many people had a playful look on their faces. It was as if they could see Qin Feng being killed instantly. However, they suddenly heard a loud explosion, causing everyone to be confused. Ku Xing clearly hadn't reached Qin Feng yet, so how could there be an explosion? Where did senior brother Ku Xing go? Not good. That kid must have a magic treasure. He killed big brother Ku Xing. A true Spirit Realm cultivator killed a hollow god realm expert. And he killed instantly? How is that possible? This kid isn't simple. Everyone attack together and kill him to take revenge for big brother Ku Xing. Chapter 1937. Everyone was shocked by the fact that Qin Feng had instantly killed a hollow god level 1 cultivator, but they weren't afraid of him. After all, there were more than 10 sect disciples gathered on the opposite mountain peak, and there were many hollow god experts among them. To them, Qin Feng probably had a very powerful magic treasure, and with a sneak attack, he was able to kill Ku Xing's swish. In an instant, 5 black figures flew towards the opposite mountain peak. One of them was a hollow god level 2 expert, and the other 4 were peak true spirit disciples. Such a formation was already considered strong among the cultivators under 50 years old. Seeing the 5 people attack at the same time, the remaining 20 people even gave up on the idea of attacking. Instantly, sword and blade lights covered the mountain peak that Qin Feng was on. Cui Qing felt like he was surrounded by the aura of death, and despair rose in his heart. He didn't understand why Qin Feng wanted to fight the sect disciples head-on. This way, not only would he be eliminated, he wouldn't even be able to keep his life. The aura of the sword and blade had already exploded, and the ferocious true essence made it hard for Cui Qing to breathe. Just as he was about to leave, he saw a silver light flash. It seemed to be a spear shadow, and it was very small at first, but in an instant, it condensed into a huge true essence spear chi. Boom, boom, boom. The true essence spear chi was extremely ferocious, and it seemed like it was about to condense into a physical spear. The sword chi was instantly dispersed, and it was as easy as cutting tofu. The silver spear continued to fly with an unstoppable aura. The 5 people that were rushing over suddenly froze in midair, and a loud sound came from their bodies. They didn't even land on the mountain peak that Qin Feng was on, and their souls were scattered. How is this possible? The sect disciples were shocked. Who is that kid? When did such a heaven-defying monster appear in the South Pingzhou state? He must have hidden his strength. Don't tell me he used a beauty pill to change his appearance? The Maze Valley Mystic Realm doesn't allow cultivators above 50 years old to enter, or else they will be automatically ejected. This kid is indeed a cultivator below 50 years old, but his strength is too strong. He should be a disciple of a 6 or even 7-star sect. The sect disciples discussed, but no one dared to attack. After Qin Feng killed the 5 people with 1 spear, he stood on the mountain peak in a daze, and seemed to be in deep thought. That spear attack made him feel like he was being watched again. This feeling was very strong, and it definitely wasn't an illusion. But after Qin Feng's divine sense swept a few kilometers, he didn't find anything out of the ordinary. Apart from the group of sect cultivators on the opposite mountain, there was no one else. Qin Feng even suspected that there was a surveillance formation in the Maze Valley secret realm. This kind of surveillance formation was very high level. It could only be set up by a level 6 formation grandmaster. The effect of the surveillance formation was similar to the surveillance cameras in China. It could record everything that happened inside the formation. Although Qin Feng couldn't set up a monitoring array, as a rank 5 spirit array master, it wasn't difficult for him to discover a monitoring array. However, there was nothing in this secret realm. He couldn't even sense a trace of the array's aura. There were no powerful cultivators, or any formation, so why did he feel like he was being watched? Since there that he was. That he. Feng Qin there. Qin and there and there he there. He that was one and there Qin. He there that there, he Feng a sect and he. The dozens of flying ships landed on the mountain peak, and each ship had at least 2 people. This way, there were more than 50 sect cultivators gathered on the opposite mountain peak. Among the crowd, there were some new sects, and they were all disciples of 5-star sections. There was even a 6-star family, and Qin Feng knew this 6-star family, the Jiang family. There were 3 people in the Jiang family team, and Jiang Fei was one of them. Jiang Fei was already at level 2 of the Nihility God realm, but he wasn't the strongest. The cultivator in front of him was at level 5 of the Nihility God realm. What's going on here? The Nihility God realm level 5 cultivator asked. He had the highest cultivation in the group, and the other cultivators immediately reported the situation. Senior Jiang Zhu, there are 2 rogue cultivators over there. They didn't want to withdraw from the competition, and they killed a few of our fellow cultivators. Senior Jiang, be careful. Although that guy looks like he's only at level 7 of the true spirit realm, he killed 2 Nihility God realm cultivators. Jiang Zhu's gaze landed on Qin Feng, and he was stunned by his young appearance. One had to know that cultivators under 50 years old wouldn't consume beauty pills, so Qin Feng was already a genius among geniuses for being at level 7 of the true spirit realm. Moreover, this person killed Nihility God realm cultivators at the true spirit realm. This wasn't just shocking, it was unbelievable. As a disciple of a 6-star family, Jiang Zhu was very knowledgeable. He knew that there were countless geniuses in the South Flat Continent, so he would never let his guard down. What's your name? Jiang Zhu's expression was cold. Before Qin Feng could say anything, Jiang Fei had already recognized him. It's you. Not long ago, you teamed up with Zhao Ziyu to explore the 10,000 Insect Valley, right? It would have been better if Jiang Fei didn't mention this, but once he did, Qin Feng got angry. Back then, when they had just entered the deeper regions of the 10,000 Insect Valley, they had been robbed by Jiang Yuyan and the others. Although there were no treasures in the storage ring that Qin Feng had given them, being robbed still made him feel very embarrassed. Moreover, Qin Feng and Jiang Fei had deep enmity. When they were still in the Purple Cloud Valley, Jiang Fei and Tai Sex Zhang Baishan had tricked him into breaking the 7-star formation. After he killed Zhang Baishan and the others, Jiang Fei used the escape talisman to escape. Jiang Fei had Jiang Yuyan and Jiang Bieli, the 2 body condensation realm elders, protecting him in the 10,000 Insect Valley. Otherwise, Qin Feng would have killed him. Junior Jiang Fei, do you know this person? Jiang Zhu asked. Jiang Fei sneered. Senior brother Jiang Zhu, this person was exploring the 1,000 Insect Valley 3 months ago, and Elder Jiang Yuyan took away his spirit herb. There's no need for us to waste words with him. If he refuses to withdraw from the competition, we'll kill him. Jiang Zhu's worries disappeared. He was now at Nihility God Realm Level 5, a middle-stage Nihility God Realm expert. Why would he be afraid of a true Spirit Realm 7 ant? Even if this true Spirit Realm 7 youth could kill an early-stage Nihility God Realm expert, he definitely couldn't kill a middle-stage Nihility God Realm expert. This kind of thing had never happened in the South Flat Continent before. Kid, hand over your storage ring and back out of the competition. I can let you live. Jiang Zhu looked righteous, but he was even more malicious than Jiang Fei. He had his eyes on Qin Fen's storage ring. With Qin Fen's cultivation reaching the late true spirit realm at such a young age, he believed that there were many treasures in his storage ring. Seeing more than 30 sect disciples fly over, Cui Qing lost all confidence. He quickly said to Qin Feng, Senior, give them the storage ring. Where there's life, there's hope. Jiang Zhu was very satisfied with Cui Cheng's performance. Although he wasn't interested in Cui Cheng's storage ring, to set an example for Qin Feng, he said, "Hand over your storage ring and back out of the maze valley." Before Cui Cheng could move, Qin Feng's indifferent voice was heard. "What right do you have to take our storage rings?" His words stunned the 50 or so people on the opposite mountain peak. This was a difficult question to answer, but it was also an extremely idiotic question. Everyone knew that the Divine Supreme Continent was a place where the strong preyed on the weak. Cultivation represented everything. If a cultivator with a high cultivation realm wanted you to die, you wouldn't have any other choice, let alone taking your storage ring. From everyone's point of view, Jiang Zhu's cultivation was much higher than Qin Feng's. It was reasonable for him to ask Qin Feng and Cui Cheng to hand over their storage rings. "Heh! Do you have a reason not to hand over your storage rings?" Jiang Zhu smiled after being stunned for a while. Qin Feng couldn't help but think of the peaceful world on Earth. He missed it. Although China also had the phenomenon of the strong preying on the weak, as a whole, everyone developed and coexisted equally. He even wondered if there would be a day where he could establish a peaceful coexistence in the Divine Continent. Sky Connection City seemed to be that kind of place. My reason is that as a cultivator, everyone is equal. You have no right to take our storage rings. Qin Feng's blood boiled. The air seemed to freeze. The cultivators on the opposite mountain were dumbfounded. Even Cui Cheng looked at Qin Feng with a strange gaze. As a cultivator, everyone was equal? Ha ha. So you're just an idiot with a screw loose. How dare you say that everyone is equal in the South Pingzhou continent? Jiang Fei couldn't help but laugh when he came back to his senses. If everyone is equal, then what's the point of cultivating? The Divine Supreme Continent wouldn't exist anymore. He really is a fellow without any ambition. I wonder how he reached the late True Spirit realm? Cui Cheng lowered his head in shame as he faced the crowd's mockery. However, Qin Feng held his head high and said in a loud voice, "Nothing is absolute. All the rules are set by the strong. If the strongest cultivator on the Divine Supreme Continent made everyone equal, would you still laugh at him?" His words echoed in everyone's mind, and the laughter stopped abruptly. No one had thought about this before, but when Qin Feng brought it up, they were suddenly enlightened. It's all a fallacy. A mere late-stage true spirit realm dares to talk about this. You should think about your own survival first. Jiang Zhu was a bit impatient. Qin Feng continued, "Survival is important, but you ants can't threaten my life. Since you like to bully others, I'll let you feel what it's like to be bullied." Everyone rolled their eyes. They were sure that Qin Feng had a screw loose. Before Jiang Zhu could do anything, a giant true essence hand appeared in the air. A giant palm flew through the gap between the two mountains and landed on Qin Feng and Cui Cheng's heads. A wild true essence surged out. Cui Cheng knelt on the ground, unable to breathe. The sect disciples on the opposite mountain peak all sneered. The one who attacked was the Nihility God level 2nd level Jiang Fei. In their opinion, Qin Feng was already a dead man. This kind of ant had the nerve to say that everyone was equal. Chapter 1938. Laughter filled the air. Cui Cheng felt that this time he was really done for, but then he heard a loud bang. When he looked up, he saw that the huge palm print falling from the sky had instantly dissipated, and an even more powerful true essence palm print was flying towards the opposite cliff. Not good! Everyone run! Such powerful true essence, is this the true essence of a true spirit cultivator? The palm print landed and cracked the opposite mountain. There was an explosion and giant rocks fell from the top of the mountain as if there was an earthquake. Most of the fearless sect cultivators flew away. There were some late-stage true spirit cultivators that died before they could understand what was going on in the true spirit realm. Jiang Fei ran fast but was still injured by the true essence shockwave. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air, but he didn't even have time to care about his injuries as he looked at the opposite mountain in disbelief. Qin Feng's figure wasn't there, and this made Jiang Fei feel a strong sense of unease. Just as this feeling appeared, a gust of wind blew behind him, and before he could even look back, his body flew into the air once again. Jiang Fei, do you still recognize me? Qin Feng's cold voice sounded in Jiang Fei's mind. This was the effect of divine sense transmission. Jiang Fei subconsciously said, Last time in the 10,000 Insect Valley, it was Elder Jiang Yuyan who stole your spirit grass. It has nothing to do with me. Don't kill me. Even Jiang Fei didn't realize that he was begging Qin Feng because an unprecedented sense of death enveloped his body. He felt that his life was in the other's hands, and if the other wanted, he could take his life at any time. You think I'm talking about the 10,000 Insect Valley? I'm talking about the Purple Cloud Valley's secret realm. Qin Feng's voice sounded again. Jiang Fei was stunned. A look of panic and doubt appeared in his eyes. Of course he knew what the Purple Cloud Valley was. A year ago, he had gone to the Purple Cloud Valley with Taisek's Zhang Baishan and the South Flat State's Level 5 Spirit Array Master Hu Sui. Jiang Fei had gone behind the sect's back to find a secret realm called the White Spirit Mountain. Actually, Jiang Fei didn't know what was inside the Bailing Spirit Mountain either. However, there was a rumor in the South Pagoda State that the strongest cultivator of the South Pagoda State had gone to the North Sand State, and eventually disappeared on the Bailing Spirit Mountain outside Xixia City. In order to hide his whereabouts from the sect during that expedition, he had been very careful. How did the youth in front of him know? At the next moment, Jiang Fei's eyes shone brightly. He suddenly thought of Qin Feng, whom he had met in the Seven Stars formation. Initially, they had wanted to use Qin Feng as the array guide, but they had been killed by that lad from the Northern Sand region. Ever since he escaped from the North Sand continent, Jiang Fei had always remembered Qin Feng. While he hated Qin Feng, he was also shocked by the strength of the North Sand continent cultivators. Rumor had it that it was the cultivation wasteland of the Divine Continent, but Jiang Fei didn't think so after going there. Why, you're Qin Feng? Jiang Fei cried out in surprise. Actually, he didn't need Qin Feng to answer. In his heart, he had already thought of Qin Feng and Xiao Feng. He already had an answer. You should have died more than a year ago in the primordial battlefield. I let you live for another year, so you can go in peace. A powerful divine sense rushed into Jiang Fei's mind. This time, not only did he hear a voice, he immediately felt his divine sense being attacked. This kind of attack was too foreign to him. He didn't even know how to defend against it. However, he quickly realized that this was a divine sense attack. His face was filled with shock and fear. Divine sense attacks could only be released by Nihility God Realm cultivators. Only body condensation realm cultivators could produce an effective divine sense attack. However, a mere late true spirit realm cultivator actually had such a powerful divine sense. Rumble! When that powerful divine sense attack entered his mind, Jiang Fei heard a loud bang coming from his divine sense. He didn't even have the slightest chance to resist, and his consciousness quickly disappeared. His face revealed an expression like that of a puppet as he fell from the sky down the cliff. Another Nihility God Realm expert had fallen. This time, no one knew how Jiang Fei had died. A strange aura engulfed the surrounding mountain range. The sect disciples felt uneasy and even wanted to retreat. Who dared to kill my sect's disciple, Jiang Fei? Aren't you afraid that my Jiang family will take revenge? Seeing his junior brother die, Jiang Zhu roared in anger. Qin Feng had returned to the mountain peak he was standing on. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the crazed Jiang Zhu. Now you know how to be angry? Isn't this the principle you all follow? In this world where the strong prey on the weak, you should feel that it's natural that I killed an ant like Jiang Fei. The crowd revealed shocked expressions. Although they had already guessed that Jiang Fei had died at Qin Feng's hands, they were still surprised when Qin Feng admitted it. How did you kill my junior brother? Panic flashed in Jiang Zhu's eyes. Even he hadn't seen the battle clearly. He's already dead. What's the point of asking? Leave your storage rings behind and withdraw from the competition. I can spare your lives. Qin Feng's words were so familiar. Now that they came out of Qin Fen's mouth, the sect disciples were enraged. However, no one dared to vent their anger. The 50-odd cultivators stood scattered on the various mountain peaks. They didn't even dare to look directly at Qin Fen's murderous gaze. They were deeply afraid that they would be killed if they weren't careful. Everyone placed their hopes on Jiang Zhu. They hoped that the number one genius disciple of the six-star Jiang family would step forward and kill Qin Fen to help them vent their anger. However, Jiang Zhu didn't move. This made the crowd even more uncertain. Are you crazy? A lone cultivator dares to target a sect disciple? Jiang Zhu finally spoke. Qin Fen smiled. A sect disciple can bully a lone cultivator, but a lone cultivator can't bully a sect disciple? What kind of fallacy is that? Jiang Zhu was stumped by Qin Fen's question. On the divine continents, 4 great continents, rogue cultivators were the lowest existences. This was common sense, but Qin Fen had asked such an idiotic question in a self-righteous manner. It was hard for Jiang Zhu to answer. Jiang Zhu wasn't the only one who couldn't answer. The other sect disciples couldn't either. The answer should have been simple and clear. A lone cultivator should be lower than a sect disciple. However, when Qin Fen appeared as a lone cultivator and defeated a group of sect disciples, the answer to this question changed. Can't answer? Then let me answer it for you. Whether it's a lone cultivator or a sect disciple, there's no difference in status at birth. It's you who are arrogant and presumptuous. How dare you treat this wrong thinking as the truth? What a joke! Qin Fen's loud voice echoed through the surrounding mountains. No one dared to refute him. Some of the sect disciples even fell into deep thought. The eyes of Cui Qing, who had been in a state of panic and fear, brightened. After hearing Qin Feng's words, he felt as if he had woken up from a dream. He stood up from his kneeling position, puffed out his chest, and swept his resolute gaze over the sect disciples on the surrounding peaks. My patience is limited. If you don't want to die, leave your storage rings and leave, Qin Fen shouted again. In reality, he wasn't interested in the storage rings of the sect disciples. He just wanted to teach these arrogant people a lesson. The situation had changed drastically. Originally, the sects had joined forces to suppress the lone cultivators, but now, more than 20 sect disciples were being suppressed by a lone cultivator. Everyone was filled with anger, but they had nowhere to vent it. Qin Fen's strength was powerful and mysterious. Not only could he kill an empty god realm cultivator in a second, but he couldn't even capture how he did it. Because of this, Jiang Zhu didn't make a move, but Qin Fen wanted a foot after taking an inch? This made him explode. Do you really think we're afraid of you? Everyone help me. Let's kill this arrogant guy. Jiang Zhu shouted angrily. The scattered cultivators on the various mountains attacked at the same time. More than 50 black shadows filled the sky. Ferocious aura surged from each of them. The weather changed drastically. Dark clouds surged as if the end of the world was coming. Facing such a powerful formation, Qin Fen stood on the mountain peak without any change in expression. Cui Qing didn't run. Instead, he took on a fighting stance, which surprised Qin Fen. However, he didn't plan to let Cui Qing help him. He said calmly, "You back off. I alone am enough." Swoosh! Cui Qing still wanted to say something, but he heard the sharp sound of something breaking through the air. Qin Feng, who had been standing at the top of the mountain a second ago, disappeared. A moment later, a resplendent black light filled the sky and quickly swallowed up the light. Cui Qing saw an unforgettable scene. Qin Fen reappeared. He stood in the crowd with his saber. The saber in his hand was domineering and mighty. The saber gave off a strange black glow. The black glow seemed to have the ability to swallow all light. Everywhere it went fell into darkness. It was just a simple saber slash without any saber skills at all. However, the disciples that were flying into the sky all stopped. Or rather, it wasn't them who stopped, but the entire space. This is realm? Waves surged in Cui Qing's heart. Although he hadn't comprehended realm, he had heard of this amazing technique from his father. According to his father, only hollow spirit realm cultivators could comprehend realm, and only body condensation realm cultivators could use realm. Qin Fen was at the late true spirit realm, so how could he use realm? These questions flashed across Cui Cheng's mind. Before he could find an answer, the black saber light covered the area he was at. Cui Cheng's consciousness quickly disappeared and he was in a deep thought state. Qin Fen formed a realm with Qin Fen at the center. Time seemed to stop in this realm, or rather, he entered another territory. In this territory, Qin Fen was the master. All living beings in the realm were killed by his saber. This wasn't the first time Qin Fen used imprisonment, but it was the first time he used it to trap dozens of cultivators. Currently, the imprisonment true artifact long saber had already become a support. Qin Fen's main method of using the realm was to rely on his powerful divine sense. After breaking through to true spirit realm 7 and his divine sense C breaking through twice, Qin Fen was able to use the realm god technique with ease. Even if he trapped 50 cultivators at once, he didn't feel any pressure. Puchi! The sound of skin breaking could be heard. The frozen figures exploded one after another. This scene was extremely shocking and no one was able to appreciate it. The only person who could witness Qin Fen's glory, Cui Cheng, was also frozen on the mountain peak. You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.